Chapter 50-20. Long Shuzhou's identity was extremely noble. Not only was she the most beloved daughter of the West Sea Dragon Emperor, but she was also the disciple of Gu Quangren, who had recently turned the entire South Barbarian upside down. Ever since Gu Fei fought with the mysterious palace lord of Ling Tian Palace, no one dared to look down on Gu Fei in the Void Realm. After all, who dared to fight with the mysterious palace lord of Ling Tian Palace? Even if Gu Fei couldn't defeat the palace lord of Ling Tian Palace, he was still known as the second strongest expert in the world. As Gu Fei's disciple, who dared to slight Long Xiaozhou? Wang Dozhan didn't dare to slight her either. In order to help Long Xiaozhou capture Manyu, he personally came to the North Gate. At this moment, in Zhongtian, the North Gate of Battle City was filled with cold murderous intent. Long Xiaozhou stood on a pavilion beside the city gate and looked coldly at Manyu, the second son of Barbarian Emperor, who was protected by the 7 divine kings. The second son of Barbarian Emperor actually needs someone to protect him? Long Xiaozhou sneered. Long Xiaozhou, I have no enmity with you in the past. Why do you have to make things difficult for me? At this moment, Manyu already knew Long Xiaozhou's identity. Don't talk nonsense. It's impossible for me to let you go, Long Xiaozhou said coldly. Second Master, hurry up and leave, one of the 7 divine kings said anxiously. Leave? Where can I go? Wang Dozhan, who was standing beside Long Xiaozhou, leaped up and flew towards Manyu. A powerful pressure erupted from his body and the spiritual energy in the void immediately gathered towards him. I'll deal with Lao. The 2 of you go and protect Second Master. As Mu Tianfeng spoke, he sent a punch towards Lao. A powerful fist force burst out from his fist, causing the void to tremble. Tuo Xiong and Mr. Qiushui didn't say anything and charged towards Wang Dozhan, who was pouncing towards Manyu. Tuo Xiong flipped his right hand and a long black whip appeared in his hand. With a shake of his right hand, the long whip coiled around Wang Dozhan like a black snake. At the same time, a sword hum sounded. The ancient sword on Mr. Qiushui's back was unsheathed. With a flash of cold light, a sharp sword ray pierced through Wang Dozhan's body. A chilling sword chi spread out, and the temperature of the world dropped rapidly. Battle God Fist! Wang Dozhan roared and threw a punch at the sword light. At the same time, he reached out with his left hand and grabbed the long whip that was coming at him. Clang! When Wang Dozhan's fist collided with the sword light, a metallic clang rang out. The incomparably sharp sword light was unable to touch him at all. What? Master Qiushui was shocked when he saw this. Could it be that this guy had cultivated to the invincible Vajra level? At this moment, Wang Dozhan pulled hard with his left hand. The long whip was immediately stretched taut. Tuo Xiong was extremely shocked. The long whip in his hand was almost pulled away by the other party. Roar! Tuo Xiong let out a roar and exerted force with his right hand, wanting to pull back the whip. Hee hee! Wang Dozhan suddenly laughed and let go of the whip. What? Caught off guard, Tuo Xiong could not help but fall back. He did not expect Wang Dozhan to let go of his whip. Wang Dozhan stretched out his hand and grabbed at Manyu. This guy! The 7 divine kings who were protecting Manyu were shocked when they saw this. At the next moment, they attacked Wang Dozhan at the same time with all their strength. Extremely violent power burst out as the 7 divine kings attacked at the same time. The power that burst out gathered together and turned into an invincible torrent that rushed towards Wang Dozhan. Humph! Wang Dozhan sneered. At the next moment, he turned his claw into a fist. He clenched his 5 fingers and used his famous move, the Battle God Fist. Boom! The 2 powerful forces instantly clashed together, causing an earth-shattering explosion. Everyone in the entire battle city was startled awake by this explosion. In the dark night, not only did this explosion spread throughout the entire Battle War city, even the tribes outside the city were alarmed. At this moment, the army of Battle War City had already started moving. The battle sect had established a regular army to rule over their territory. There were 100,000 soldiers from the battle army stationed in the city. and there were 200,000 soldiers from the battle army stationed outside the city. Right now, regardless of whether it was the barracks inside or outside the city, all of them were brightly lit. Countless soldiers were gathering. Very quickly, the sound of hooves from the battle-war cavalry entered Long Shuzhou's ears. At this moment, the 7 divine kings vomited blood and retreated at the same time. Even if the 7 divine kings joined forces, they would not be a match for Wang Dozhan. Wang Dozhan was incomparably domineering. He fought 1 against 7 and actually did not retreat at all. He was like a huge mountain that stood towering in front of everyone. Bam! At this moment, Man Yu, who was originally trembling in fear, actually attacked with lightning speed and punched Wang Dozhan's chest. And? Wang Dozhan was stunned. This fellow actually dared to attack him. Little fellow, you are courting death! Wang Dozhan grinned and extended his right hand, wanting to grab Man Yu. However, Man Yu suddenly raised his head and revealed a trace of a cold smile. Wang Dozhan's heart moved. In the next moment, his entire body froze. His face revealed an expression of disbelief. His extended right hand also stopped in the air. You, despicable! Wang Dozhan gritted his teeth and said. Even his eyes were red. He only felt a stinging pain spreading from his fist. Very quickly, his entire body was in pain. Only then did Man Yu slowly retract his fist. On his fist, between his fingers, there was actually an incomparably sharp black thorn. God-slaying thorn? When Wang Dozhan saw the black thorn between Man Yu's fingers, he was instantly scared out of his wits. Wang Dozhan, go to hell! Tua Xiong roared and directly rushed over. He clenched his right fist and ruthlessly punched Wang Dozhan's head, causing Wang Dozhan to fly out. Boom! Wang Dozhan directly smashed through a house and fell in. What? When everyone saw this, they were all shocked. Senior brother! When Long Xiaozhou saw this, she couldn't help but be furious. This Man Yu was really too despicable. She directly jumped down from the pavilion and grabbed the void with her right hand. An inconspicuous long saber immediately appeared in her hand. Buzz! When Long Xiaozhou poured her strength into the saber in her hand, a dragon's roar immediately came out from the saber. The shadow of a dragon emerged from the saber. Emperor Beheading Saber? When Man Yu saw the saber in Long Xiaozhou's hand, his eyes instantly widened. This Emperor Beheading Saber belonged to his father, Man Huang. Now, it actually fell into Long Xiaozhou's hands. It seemed that Gu Fei really treated his disciple very well. Roar! At this moment, Lao roared continuously. He wanted to rush over to see how Wang Dozhan was doing, but he was stopped by Mu Tianfeng. Even Mu Tianfeng didn't expect Man Yu to have this move. Chapter 50-21. Before Gu Fei went into seclusion, he gave Monarch Beheading Saber to Long Xiaozhou. In Gu Fei's eyes, Monarch Beheading Saber, which was known as the #1 saber in the south, wasn't the strongest Dao weapon. After he gave Monarch Beheading Saber to Long Xiaozhou, he gave the complete golden armor he got from Barbarian Emperor to Xiaoya. The power of the golden armor should be above Monarch Beheading Saber. It was just that Barbarian Emperor hadn't been able to unleash the true power of the golden armor. Man Yu was stunned when he saw Monarch Beheading Saber. This was Monarch Beheading Saber, the #1 saber in the south. No one knew the power of this saber better than Man Yu. Buzz! Long Xiaozhou shook the Monarch Beheading Saber in her hand and swept it horizontally. A domineering arc of saber light rushed out from the saber and slashed towards Tua Xiong and Mr. Qiushui. The Monarch Executioner's saber was a divine weapon renowned throughout the world. Even half-step Emperor realm cultivators like Tua Xiong and Mr. Qiushui were shocked when they saw the blade light coming at them. They immediately dodged it without a second thought. Man Yu immediately ran away when he saw Long Xiaozhou's saber. Long Xiaozhou forced these guys back with one slash and immediately turned around to rush into the wall that Wang Dozhan had crashed through. Senior brother, you! Long Xiaozhou immediately saw Wang Dozhan lying in the rubble. She was shocked when she saw Wang Dozhan's appearance. Wang Dozhan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Moreover, Wang Dozhan's current condition was very bad. He was poisoned, and it wasn't an ordinary poison. This kind of poison could definitely kill a half-step Emperor realm expert. Little junior sister. Wang Dozhan couldn't even speak properly. God-slaying thorns poison? Long Xiao was extremely shocked. One had to know that Wang Dozhan was an expert among half-step Emperor realm experts. He was actually poisoned to this extent, and was on the verge of death. She didn't dare to be negligent, and quickly took out a pill and stuffed it into Wang Dozhan's mouth. This was her life-saving divine pill that could cure all poisons in the world. Whether it was the god-slaying thorns poison or other strange poisons that made people pale at the mention of it, it could cure all of them. This was because Gu Fei had given it to Long Xiao and Little Ye to save their lives. Gu Fei did not want his disciple to die in the hands of those despicable and shameless people. Long Xiaozhou originally thought that Wang Dozhan was poisoned too deeply and was beyond saving, but who would have thought that after he took the divine pill, the black gas on his face would actually recede at a speed visible to the naked eye. Long Xiao was surprised and overjoyed. His master did not lie to him. This divine elixir could even cure the poison of the god-slaying thorn. He had to ask his master for a few more of these divine elixirs. If Gu Fei knew what Long Xiaozhou was thinking, he would probably go crazy. Asking for a few more? Even refining a single divine pill like this was extremely difficult. Most importantly, he needed a drop of his blood to refine this divine pill. Who would be stupid enough to bleed themselves for no reason? Boom! At this moment, there was a loud noise, and the entire house suddenly collapsed. Countless bricks and stones smashed towards Long Xiao. Instead of taking the opportunity to escape, you dare to attack me? Long Xiao smiled. She had the monarch executioner in her hand. Even if she wasn't a half-step Emperor realm, she would still dare to fight against a half-step Emperor realm cultivator. Roar! Long Xiaovo roared angrily and slashed upwards with the monarch executioner. The falling roof was directly split in half, and she rushed out. Whoosh! As soon as Long Xiao rushed out, a black shadow immediately wrapped around her body like a poisonous snake. It was a black whip, and countless sharp blades suddenly emerged from the whip that was wrapped around Long Xiaozhou. Ha ha, go to hell! Tua Xiong laughed loudly and pulled hard. The whip wrapped around Long Xiaozhou's body immediately tightened, wanting to tear her apart at the waist. However, the sharp blades on the whip only managed to cut through Long Xiaozhou's outer clothes. They couldn't cut through the soft armor beneath her clothes at all. This was a famous protective armor of the West Sea, known as the Thousand Dragon Armor. This Thousand Dragon Armor was forged from the dragon scales and dragon skin of the fallen dragon tribe of the West Sea. Ordinary Dao weapons could not break through the Thousand Dragon Armor's defense at all. What? Seeing that his whip couldn't hurt Long Xiao, Tua Xiong's expression changed. In the next moment, he wanted to retract his whip, but it was too late. The monarch executioner in Long Xiaozhou's hand had already moved. With a flash of the blade, the whip wrapped around her body was directly cut in half. Tua Xiong felt extremely pained. This was the Dao weapon that he had refined his entire life. It was destroyed just like that. This made his heart bleed. At this moment, a sword light shot towards Long Xiaozhou. However, Mr. Qiushui was also shocked when he saw that Long Xiaozhou cut Tua Xiong's whip in one move. Long Xiaozhou was holding the number 1 saber of the South Barbarians, the monarch executioner. Mr. Qiushui hurriedly recalled his flying sword. At the same time, Lao roared and rushed over. Mu Tianfeng took the opportunity to rush towards Man Yu. He grabbed Man Yu's shoulder and soared into the sky, directly flying out of Battle City. At this moment, the garrison troops in and outside the city had already fought their way to the north gate. Countless arrows pierced through the air and shot towards Mu Tianfeng and Man Yu. Humph! Mu Tianfeng sneered. With a wave of his right sleeve, all the arrows that were shot towards him were sent flying away. Many of the arrows were even shot towards the army of the battle gate below. When the arrows fell, screams immediately sounded. Many of the cavalrymen of the battle sect were hit and fell off their horses. The cavalrymen outside the battle sect were instantly in chaos. Retreat! Mu Tianfeng roared towards Tuo Xiong, Mr. Qiushui, and the others who were still inside the north gate. Then, without turning his head, he grabbed Man Yu and fled. Mu Tianfeng was so powerful, but he actually wanted to escape. That was because he sensed Wang Dozhan's aura. Boom! At the same time, there was a loud sound. Broken bricks instantly flew in all directions. A figure walked out from the smoke and dust. This person was Wang Dozhan. His aura was like a rainbow, and his body was filled with vast and mighty energy. His eyes were extremely sharp as he looked in the direction that Mu Tianfeng escaped. Want to escape? Wang Dozhan's right foot stepped on the ground. His entire body turned into a ray of divine light and soared into the sky. In an instant he pierced through the sky and chased after Mu Tianfeng. Seeing that their boss had retreated, Tuo Xiong and Mr. Qiushui did not want to continue fighting and also wanted to escape. However, Lao exploded and directly faced Tuo Xiong. This is not a place where you can come and go as you please. Lao roared angrily. He punched out again and again. Every time he punched out, there would be a dazzling electric light exploding from his fist, illuminating the night sky. Tuo Xiong was incomparably depressed. This guy bullied me because my Dao tool was destroyed. Is he easy to bully? Lao's Heaven's Thunder Fist was incomparably domineering. The destructive fist force was vast and mighty, forcing him to continuously dodge. Haha, hunchbacked old man, I'll be leaving first. Mr. Qiushui laughed loudly. He became one with his sword and soared into the sky. His speed was extremely fast, and he instantly disappeared into the night sky. Chapter 50-22 Battle City, North Gate. The moon was dark and the wind was strong. The lights were brightly lit. At this moment, the battle sect's army had already surrounded the entire North Gate. Even a bird wouldn't be able to fly out of the North Gate at this moment. Old fart Qiushui, old thief Mu Yu, Tuo Xiong, who was blocked by Lao and Long Xiao at the North Gate, had already cursed Mu Tianfeng and Mr. Qiushui's ancestors. These two bastards actually abandoned him and escaped. Like Tuo Xiong, the 7 godly kings were also blocked at the North Gate. Kill! The 7 godly kings roared angrily as they flew towards the North Gate. However, just as they rushed into the sky, countless flying arrows were shot at them from all directions. However, these 7 fellas were all godly king existences. A ball of divine light appeared on the 7 of them. All the arrows that were shot towards them were repelled by the divine light. This kind of attack couldn't hurt these godly kings at all. Swoosh! At this moment, there was a flash of blood. A godly king in the sky suddenly fell from the sky. A faint, almost invisible black shadow moved quickly in the void like a shadow. With a flash, another godly king fell from the sky. What? Who is it? Before a godly king could finish his sentence, he covered his throat. His eyes bulged out, and he also fell from the sky. When the other godly kings saw this, they were scared half to death. They immediately scattered in all directions. In just a blink of an eye, 3 godly king experts were killed by the mysterious shadow. This shocked Lao, the battle sect's vice-sect leader. Although these godly kings were like ants in Lao's eyes, to ordinary cultivators, they were high and mighty godly kings. To be able to kill godly kings in a second, the abilities of this mysterious expert were imaginable. Don't let any of them off, Long Xiao said in a deep voice. Yes, master! A cold voice resounded in the void. Long Xiao was staring at Tuo Xiong. You are dead, Long Xiao coldly said to Tuo Xiong. TSK, you only have the Emperor Beheading Saber in your hand. If you don't use the Emperor Beheading Saber, I can stab you to death with 1 finger. Do you believe me? Tuo Xiong stared at Long Xiao disdainfully and said, I believe you, but I won't give you the chance. Long Xiao said calmly. She was well aware of the Dragon Slayer Saber's power. With her current cultivation level and Monarch Executioner, she could even put up a fight against the half-step Emperor Realm Cultivator. However, without Monarch Executioner, she was no match for Tua Xiong at all. Cut the crap and die! Lao didn't want to waste time with this guy. He threw a punch at Tua Xiong. His Thunder Fist force was incomparably domineering. Before his fist even reached Tua Xiong, more than 10 bolts of lightning had already blasted towards him. Each bolt of lightning was incomparably dazzling, as if it was tearing the void apart. People who cultivated this kind of lightning cultivation method had a fiery temper. Since Tua Xiong dared to cause trouble in his territory, he would directly send him to the next world. How would Tua Xiong dare to fight with Lao now? He immediately rushed into the sky and fled. However, a saber was already slashing towards his head. Damn it! Tua Xiong roared angrily. He instantly moved a few feet to the side, dodging the saber and Lao's fist. However, in the next moment, Tua Xiong's body was already surrounded by the saber shadows of Monarch Executioner. It was as if there were countless Monarch Executioner sabers slashing towards him. Without any suspense, Tua Xiong still wanted to struggle on his deathbed. However, countless saber shadows fell instantly, and Tua Xiong was instantly dismembered. A half-step Emperor Realm Cultivator died under Long Xiaozhou's saber just like that. Even Tua Xiong himself probably didn't expect to die in Battle City. Monarch Executioner indeed lives up to its name. When Lao saw this scene, he was stunned. Tua Xiong's cultivation level and combat strength were not low. If he were to fight with his life on the line, he might be able to kill Tua Xiong. However, he would definitely be severely injured. However, Long Xiao actually killed Tua Xiong with just 2 slashes. He relied on the Monarch Executioner saber in his hand. The power of the Monarch Executioner saber made Lao's heart palpitate. Humph! This Monarch Executioner saber is imbued with my master's power. Not to mention a half-step Emperor Realm Cultivator, even a true Emperor Realm Cultivator might not be able to take 1 slash from me. Long Xiao said proudly. What? Lao was even more shocked when he heard this. Master, the mission is completed. Leave no one alive. A black shadow suddenly appeared behind Long Xiao like a shadow. Very good. Long Xiao nodded his head. Lead the way, Long Xiao said. Yes. The shadow directly shot up into the sky and flew out of the city. Countless soldiers outside actually didn't see this mysterious shadow. Long Xiao also shot up into the sky. In the next moment, the rain of arrows appeared again. Countless flying arrows were shot towards Long Xiao. Stop! King stop! Lao roared angrily. He was extremely nervous as he also rushed forward. If Long Xiaozhou was injured, the battle sect would be finished. One should know that Long Xiaozhou was the most beloved daughter of the West Sea Elder Dragon Emperor. The West Sea Elder Dragon Emperor was the longest living emperor in the Void Dimension. This was because the mysterious palace lord of Ling Tian Palace had already surpassed the Emperor realm. Moreover, the West Sea Elder Dragon Emperor was the master of their battle sect leader, Wang Dozhan. Most importantly, Long Xiaozhou was the disciple of Gu Fei. Who was Gu Fei? He was in existence even more powerful than the West Sea Elder Dragon Emperor. Who would dare to touch the disciple of the ruthless Gu Fei? The people from the battle army didn't know who Long Xiaozhou was. However, after hearing Lao's roar, they stopped. Very quickly, Long Xiaozhou's figure disappeared under the night sky. These ordinary flying arrows couldn't hurt her at all. All of you, go back to your encampment. In the sky, Lao roared at the battle army outside the north gate. Yes! Yes! The generals of the battle army hurriedly took the order and led their troops back to their encampment. Lao also turned into a bolt of lightning and instantly disappeared under the night sky. Long Xiaozhou's target was Man Yu. Even though she killed the 7 divine kings and the half-step Emperor Realm Tua Xiong, she didn't kill Man Yu. Naturally, she wouldn't let it go. However, Mu Tianfeng was really strong. Even though he was escaping with 1 person, he still left Wang Dozhan far behind. Very quickly, Mu Tianfeng got rid of Wang Dozhan. Damn it! Wang Dozhan, who could no longer sense Mu Tianfeng's aura, angrily smashed a small hill beside him. I don't believe that you can escape from my 5 Fingers Mountain. Wang Dozhan gritted his teeth. He hated Man Yu to the core. This guy actually dared to sneak attack him, causing him to almost die from the poison of the god's slaying spike. Chapter 50-23. Battle City regained its peace. Outside Battle City, a chase was still going on. Leo, you bastard! We have no enmity in the past. Why are you staring at me? Sword light streaked across the sky, tearing through the dark night. Behind the sword light, a dazzling lightning chased after it, a destructive aura spread out. Cut the crap, fight me if you have the guts. Leo sneered. Fight you? Fight my ass. Mr. Qiushui's voice resounded. He became one with the sword, turning into a resplendent sword light and instantly leaving. But the battle sect master Leo's lightning escape technique was also incomparably fast. It was definitely not easy for Mr. Qiushui to shake him off. And at this moment, Long Xiaozhou was led by the shadow, chasing after Mu Tianfeng. Long Xiaozhou's shadow protector was not only proficient in assassination techniques, he was also proficient in tracking techniques. It wasn't easy for Mu Tianfeng to shake them off. At this moment, Mu Tianfeng really wanted to slap Man Yu to death. If it wasn't for this guy being so high profile, why would they be in such a sorry state? No one knew what happened to the others. Although the battle sect wasn't the strongest power in Sky Center, they couldn't be underestimated. There were many experts in the battle sect. Mr. Qiushui and Chua Xiong might be able to escape, but the 7 divine kings might be in danger. They might all die in Battle City. Mu Tianfeng's guess was really accurate. The 7 divine kings sent by Dong Wang really all died in Battle City. Even Chua Xiong was killed by Long Xiaozhou. This was something Mu Tianfeng didn't expect. Chua Xiong was a half-step emperor. Even if Mu Tianfeng made a move, it wouldn't be easy to kill Chua Xiong. Why, can we catch up? In a forest under a hill, Long Xiao asked the shadow-like mysterious figure beside him. Master, they won't be able to escape. The shadow replied. Good, then continue to chase. Long Xiaozhou's face was terrifyingly cold. She knew Man Yu's purpose in coming to Sky Center. That guy definitely wouldn't come to Sky Center for no reason. It would be best to capture Man Yu. If Man Yu captured Man Yu and brought him back to the southern barbarian royal capital, his master would definitely be happy. Maybe his master would be happy and impart a few ultimate moves to him. When Long Xiaozhou was chasing after Man Yu, Gu Fei was still in seclusion in the earth ancestral vein deep under the southern barbarian royal capital. At this time, Gu Fei condensed the spiritual energy of the earth around him. In the void of the ancestral vein, a cocoon of light emitted endless divine light. Re-enter the eternal realm, I am supreme! An extremely dignified voice suddenly rang out in the ancestral vein. In the next moment, the endless spiritual energy gathered in the ancestral vein was devoured by Gu Fei. Just how much spiritual energy was this? And yet, it was sucked dry by Gu Fei in an instant. Of course, this was only the ancestral vein. The spiritual energy in this huge space had been sucked dry by Gu Fei. The huge dragon-shaped ancestral vein was still emitting extremely pure spiritual energy. A figure appeared in the void. I finally succeeded. Gu Fei stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He sensed a powerful power in his body, but there wasn't a trace of surprise on his face. Instead, he was very calm. This was equivalent to him cultivating all over again. In the Void Realm, the Eternal Realm should be the legendary realm that surpassed the Emperor Realm. However, in the Void Realm, there was no such thing as the Eternal Realm. Instead, there was a realm called the Transcendent Emperor Realm. Right now, Gu Fei was in the Transcendent Emperor Realm. With a thought, 9 Tao patterns appeared on his body. They were faintly discernible around him, emitting the aura of 9 great Taos. Very quickly, the 9 Tao patterns vanished into his body. It's time to go out. With just a thought, Gu Fei disappeared into the void without a trace. At this time, the pure spiritual energy from the dragon-shaped ancestral vein filled the huge space again. In the palace hall of the Nanman royal capital, Xiaoya was faced with a series of thorny issues. She really didn't know what to do. Fierce Tiger King had been in a stalemate with the Witch King Wu Zhao in Black Wolf City for many days. Fierce Tiger King finally fell into the trap and attacked Wu Zhao in Black Wolf City first. This was a war that directly ignited the whole Nanman War. Fierce Tiger King's attack on Black Wolf City was exactly what the sorcerer race wanted, so the sorcerer race had an excuse to fight back. After East King received the news, he directly sent troops to attack from the east. The vanguard headed straight for the Nanman royal capital. The whole Nanman kingdom was shaken, and all the southern barbarian vassal kings couldn't sit still. Among the 10 vassal kings who had pledged their allegiance to Gu Fei, only North King sent troops. The other vassal kings were watching. However, North King could not put out a nearby fire. By the time he led his troops to the Nanman royal capital, it would be too late. Since they had pledged their allegiance to Gu Fei, they should send troops. However, the 9 great vassal kings were actually watching. This angered Little Ye. However, Little Ye couldn't control the situation at all, let alone these vassal kings. This made her feel very helpless. Powerful cultivation and combat power were the most practical. Little Ye was still too young. Those vassal kings were all arrogant and unruly people. How could they be willing to listen to a little girl? East King was indeed the most powerful vassal king in Nanman. He personally led a 1,000,000-strong army and charged towards the Nanman royal capital with irresistible force. Everywhere they passed, Gu Fei's army couldn't stop the advance of East King's army. This was mainly because the 9 great vassal kings were watching. These guys, Ancestor Tianhong had no choice but to take action. He actually fought against East King's army alone. It had to be said that this guy's array Dao cultivation was not bad. He had set up layers of killing arrays along the route that East King's army had to pass through. He had even taken out his trump cards. Then, East King's 1,000,000-strong army was blocked by Ancestor Tianhong. This guy had no choice but to risk his life because his life was in Gu Fei's hands. Gu Fei could kill him with just a thought. Tianhong. In East King's main tent, East King directly smashed his cup. Ancestor Tianhong was once the Array Dao Patriarch of Towering Heaven Palace. He was known as the world's #1 Array Dao expert. His Array Dao was really amazing. If he hadn't met Gu Fei, who in the entire Void Realm could surpass Ancestor Tianhong in terms of Array Dao cultivation? My lord, what do we do now? In the main tent, a group of generals looked at East King, who was sitting on the throne. Military advisor Su, what do you think? East King asked a middle-aged man holding a feather fan who was standing at the side. The middle-aged man pondered for a while and said, My lord, there is someone who can compete with Ancestor Tianhong in terms of Array Dao. However, this person has a strange temperament. If you want to invite this person, I'm afraid you have to come personally. There is someone in this world who can compete with Ancestor Tianhong? Chapter 50-24. The Void Realm was huge, but it was still too small for Gu Fei. After he came out of the ancestral vein deep under the Nanman royal capital, he immediately went to find Little Ye. When Xiaoya saw her master suddenly appear, she was pleasantly surprised. The matter that had caused her so much trouble was no longer a problem with the appearance of her master. Gu Fei learned about the current situation of Nanman from Xiaoya. Very good. I've only been in seclusion for a few days. Those guys can't stand it anymore? Gu Fei didn't make a move because he wanted to watch the show. Don't tell anyone that I'm out of seclusion, Gu Fei said to Xiaoya. Yes, master. Xiaoya accepted the order. The matter of Gu Fei coming out of seclusion, only Xiaoya alone knew. Xiaoya walked out of the palace hall. No one knew that a powerful person who could change the situation in the south had come out of seclusion. Haha, what East King? What sorcerer tribe? What's the use even if you jump into the sky? Xiaoya was in a good mood. At this time, the 9 great vassal kings were still watching from the sidelines. They were gathering their troops to protect themselves. They were the typical fence-sitters. However, they seemed to have forgotten about Gu Fei's methods. Fence-sitters would not have a good ending with Gu Fei. At that moment, both the East King and the sorcerer tribe were still walking on the path of death. In Little Ye's eyes, they were really too stupid. The death of the Witch King, Wu Ying, was still not enough to deter these ambitious people. East King's million-strong army was stopped in front of the Sky Scorpion Mountain by the layers of killing arrays set up by Patriarch Tianhong. This Sky Scorpion mountain range was crisscrossed with mountain ridges, like a huge scorpion lying on the ground. This was an important passageway from the eastern region of southern barbaric land to the southern barbaric imperial capital. However, at this time, the killing intent of the entire Sky Scorpion mountain range soared to the heavens. The sky above the Sky Scorpion mountain range was covered in the color of blood. It was terrifying. Ancestor Tianhong made use of the mountain terrain here to set up a Sky Scorpion killing array. This was an array within an array formed by countless killing arrays. East King's vanguard rushed in recklessly and suffered heavy casualties. Even the East King did not dare to barge into the array. One had to know that forefather Tianhong was known as the world's #1 formation expert. Moreover, he was a half-step Emperor realm expert himself. Coupled with the support of the array Dao, Patriarch Tianhong would definitely be able to compete with the East King. At that moment, East King's strategist, Su Qingyun, gave him an idea. He wanted him to invite an existence that could compete with Patriarch Tianhong in terms of array Dao. However, even the East King was shocked by Su Qingyun's words. One had to know that Ancestor Tianhong was recognized as the #1 array Dao expert in the entire Void Realm. In this world, other than that freak Gu Fei, was there anyone else who could surpass Elder Tianhong in terms of array skills? Mr. Su, are you kidding me? Dong Wang looked at Su Qingyun suspiciously. My lord, I still dare to joke with you at a time like this, Su Qingyun said with a solemn expression. However, as far as I know, who else other than Gu Fei can compete with Patriarch Tianhong in terms of array skills? Dong Wang looked at Su Qingyun curiously. The others also looked at their military advisor curiously. Sky Meteor Mountain! Su Qingyun pretended to be mysterious and said, What, didn't that person fall 800 years ago? That person is still alive? Not only were all the generals in the tent shocked, but even Dong Wang was shocked. If that person from Sky Meteor Mountain was still alive, there would be a good show to watch. It's absolutely true. If Dong Wang is willing to part with something, you can definitely invite that person to come and help. At that time, let alone Patriarch Tianhong, even if that Gu Fei comes out of seclusion, we won't have to fear him. Su Qingyun said coldly. What is it? Mr. Su, tell us quickly. Even Dong Wang was anxious. At this time, what could be more important than him dominating South China and becoming the Lord of South China? Immortal fruit, Chu Qingyun said indifferently. What? Dong Wang was stunned. Immortal fruit? He had risked his life to obtain it. If a person ate the immortal fruit, they would immediately become immortal. If a cultivator ate it, not only would they become immortal, but they would also improve their cultivation. Moreover, immortality was only one of the effects of the immortal fruit. The most important thing about the immortal fruit was the word immortality. The immortal fruit could not only make Dong Wang immortal, but it could also give him an immortal body. Of course, an immortal body was actually relative. Even the eternal ones, who claimed to be immortal, would fall, let alone an immortal body. Dong Wang really couldn't bear to give the immortal fruit to that person. King Lord, we can't hesitate at this time, Su Qingyun said anxiously. At this time, they had to kill their way to South China's capital and teach that Gu Fei a lesson. If they could invite that person to come out, they wouldn't have to wait for Man Yu to come back from Extreme Demon Cave. Moreover, Extreme Demon Cave was extremely dangerous. It was hard to say if Man Yu could come back alive. Even if Man Yu could come back alive, he might not be able to defeat Gu Fei. Dong Wang's expression changed several times, then he gritted his teeth. All right. Dong Wang threw caution to the wind. He could only help him achieve hegemony. So what if it was the immortal fruit? In that case, King Lord, let's leave for Mount Sky Meteor immediately. Su Qingyun was surprised and happy. Actually, he wasn't very confident that he could convince Dong Wang. There was no time to lose. If Gu Fei came out of seclusion, then everything they had planned would be for naught. With Gu Fei's temperament, they would definitely die. They never thought that Gu Fei had already come out of seclusion and was hiding in the dark to watch the show. Very soon, Dong Wang left the military camp with Su Qingyun and another confidant without anyone noticing and headed straight for the Sky Meteor Mountain. Mount Sky Meteor was located at the border of South Barbarian and North Ruins. It was quite far from the eastern region of South Barbarian. Even an existence like Dong Wang would need a few days to reach Mount Sky Meteor. Mount Sky Meteor was a barren land. Everywhere they looked was scorched black. The whole mountain was made up of bare rocks. Not even a blade of grass could be seen, let alone flowers and trees. This is the blessed land of heavenly abode from 10,000 years ago. Dong Wang and the others were shocked when they arrived at Mount Sky Meteor. It should be known that 10,000 years ago, this was a rare treasure land. But now, it had become a wasteland. No one knew what had happened back then. No one knew why the Myriad Transformations heavenly sect, which had flourished for a time, had disappeared overnight. No one knew why this place had become a wasteland. Is that person really still alive? Dong Wang looked at Su Qingyun and said with an ugly expression. King Lord, don't worry. That person is on the mountain. Su Qingyun said confidently. That's good. Then I'll have to trouble Mr. Su to lead the way. Dong Wang said. Chapter 50-25. The Sky Meteor Mountain was huge, but there were traces of a great battle everywhere. Huge pits could be seen everywhere, and the 1,000-foot-long ravine coiled around the mountain. No one knew how intense that battle had been, and no one knew why it had broken out. 10,000 years ago, this was the ancestral land of the Myriad Transformations Heaven Sect. The Myriad Transformations Heaven Sect was a colossus, and its sect master, the Myriad Transformations ancestor, was a monarch. In the Void Realm, sects with emperors overseeing them were all first-rate factions, and the Myriad Transformation Heaven Sect was even more so a first-rate faction. It was truly unimaginable that someone could destroy this sect that had existed for countless years in a single night. In fact, everyone guessed that it was the Ling Tian Palace who had destroyed the 1,000 Transformations Heaven Sect. After all, the entire Void Realm could destroy the 1,000 Transformations Heaven Sect in a single night. Other than the Ling Tian Palace, which other force in the Void Realm had such ability? However, no one from Ling Tian Palace came out to say anything. This matter was complicated and confusing. It was still a secret to this day. This is a great battle between emperors. The moment Dong Wang and the others ascended the mountain, they sensed that something was amiss. The sovereign's aura had yet to dissipate. Ordinary cultivators would not be able to withstand the aura of the mountain, let alone ascending the mountain. Mr. Su, would there still be people in this kind of place? Dong Wang's confidant was very suspicious. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth here was very thin. It was not a place for cultivators to stay. Brother Mu, you'll know soon enough, Su Qingyun said mysteriously. The East King's trusted aide was actually Mu Tianfeng's second brother, Mu Gaofeng. The Mu brothers were the East King's trusted aides. This time, the East King had brought no one but Mu Gaofeng to the Sky Meteor Mountain. Mu Gaofeng said nothing more. Very quickly, under Su Qingyun's lead, they ascended the Sky Meteor Mountain. Then, they saw that the mountain was small and there was nothing there. Seeing this, Dong Wang's expression didn't look so good. However, he did not act up immediately. Mr. Su, this? Dong Wang didn't say anything, but Mu Gaofeng couldn't hold it in any longer. Su Qingyun did not say anything. Instead, he leaped down from the mountain peak and instantly disappeared into the void. What? Dong Wang and Mu Gaofeng were shocked when they saw this. What was this guy doing? King Lord, come down! While Dong Wang and Mu Gaofeng were bewildered, a voice came from the bottom of the cliff. Dong Wang hesitated for a moment before he also leaped down the cliff and disappeared into the void. Seeing this, Mu Gaofeng had no choice but to choose even if he wanted to. He could only bite the bullet and jump down. The moment Mu Gaofeng jumped off the cliff, he knew that this cliff in front of him was an illusion. It was as if he had passed through a curtain of water, and then his eyes brightened. What appeared in front of him was a valley surrounded by celestial qi, like a paradise. There were many pavilions in the valley. At this moment, Mu Gaofeng saw Dong Wang and Su Qingyan standing on a large rock. He quickly rushed over. "Senior Myriad Transformations, Junior Su Qingyan requests an audience." Su Qingyan respectfully cupped his hands towards the valley. Dong Wang and Mu Gaofeng were so shocked that their jaws almost dropped to the ground. Could it be that the person Su Qingyan brought them to find was actually the legendary Myriad Transformations ancestor? The Myriad Transformations ancestor was still alive? Dong Wang and Mu Gaofeng's hearts were already in turmoil. "Scram!" An incomparably old voice came from the depths of the valley. "Senior, you don't want the immortal fruit anymore?" Su Qingyan smiled. "What?" The person in the depths of the valley was clearly shocked by Su Qingyan's words. "Immortal fruit? You actually have the immortal fruit?" The old voice began to tremble. "It's not me." Su Qingyan was still smiling. "You dare to fool me?" The person in the depths of the valley was instantly enraged. The next moment, the entire valley darkened, and the entire sky seemed to press down. Even Dong Wang, who had the highest cultivation among the three of them, felt incomparably suppressed. "Senior Myriad Transformations, don't be angry." Su Qingyan was fearless. "Humph! If you don't hand over the immortal fruit today, all of you will die here." The old voice sounded, and then a shocking murderous aura spread from the depths of the valley. The temperature of the entire world dropped rapidly. "Senior, although I don't have the immortal fruit, my master does," Su Qingyan said indifferently with his hands behind his back. "Your master? Since when did the Su family become someone else's slave?" The person in the valley sneered. When Su Qingyan heard that, the smile on his face immediately disappeared. "Senior, I was kind enough to find the immortal fruit for you. Since you don't want it, let's go." Su Qingyan's tone also changed. It turned out that the Su family wasn't a small family in the Void Realm. However, this family was almost annihilated by the barbarian sovereign of Southern Barbarian. Only a few members of the Su family survived. The reason why Su Qingyan sided with Dong Wang was that he wanted revenge. But now, the barbarian sovereign was dead, and the entire Southern Barbarian was divided into three factions. He had no choice but to help Dong Wang fight for hegemony in Southern Barbarian. If it wasn't for Dong Wang, he, Su Qingyan, would have died. Now, Su Qingyan was repaying a debt of gratitude. Moreover, he wanted to personally kill Man Yu. However, it was hard to say if Man Yu could return from the extreme devil cave. Do you think you can leave after entering my Myriad Transformations Immortal Valley?" The person in the depths of the valley sneered. The next moment, countless formation runes appeared in the void, enveloping the entire valley. "What?" Even Dong Wang couldn't remain calm when he saw this. He seriously suspected that the person in the depths of the valley was the legendary Myriad Transformations ancestor. Su Qingyan actually brought him to the Myriad Transformations ancestor. No wonder Su Qingyan said that this person could compete with the Array Dao ancestor of the Towering Heaven Palace, the Array Dao ancestor. Back then, only the founding ancestor of the Myriad Transformations Immortal Sect, the Myriad Transformations ancestor, had the same cultivation base as the Array Dao ancestor. The two of them were known as the Array Dao duo. "Senior Myriad Transformations, if we weren't prepared, why would we come to find you so easily?" Su Qingyan was still calm. The person in the depths of the valley was silent. "Ha ha!" After a while, a burst of laughter came from the depths of the valley. "Good, the people of the Su family really have guts. Come on in!" The person in the depths of the valley laughed. Su Qingyan didn't hesitate. He jumped down from the boulder and walked along the small path into the depths of the valley. Dong Wang followed closely behind. As for Mu Gaofeng, he brought up the rear. They walked all the way into the valley. The spirit chi in the valley was extremely abundant. It was the complete opposite of the outside world that had lost all signs of life. They even saw immortal birds flying in the sky and immortal beasts drinking by the lake. It was peaceful here. Chapter 50-26. Master, the scouts have reported that East King has secretly left the military camp. We don't know where he went. In a hall in the palace of the Nanman royal capital, Xiaoya reported to Gu Fei, who was sitting on the throne. At this time, only Gu Fei and Xiaoya were in the hall. Now, only Xiaoya knew that Gu Fei had come out of seclusion. Everyone else thought that Gu Fei was still in seclusion. He went to ask for reinforcements? Gu Fei said disapprovingly. East King's million-strong army was blocked outside the Sky Scorpion Mountain by Ancestor Tianhong's Sky Scorpion Array. All the forces in Nanman were attracted to East King. In the area where Flying Tiger City and Black Wolf City were located, the battle between Fierce Tiger King and Wu Zhao broke out. Fierce Tiger King fell into the trap and attacked Wu Zhao first. This gave Wu Zhao an excuse to fight back. Fierce Tiger King and Wu Zhao fought for a while, and both sides suffered casualties. At this time, in the area between Flying Tiger City and Black Wolf City, weapons and corpses were scattered everywhere. There were traces of battle everywhere, and the air was filled with a nauseating smell of blood. In the sky, countless ferocious birds were circling. From time to time, ferocious birds swooped down from the sky. When they flew back up, these ferocious birds had a big piece of meat in their mouths. To these ferocious birds, the battlefield was a feast. The smell of blood attracted countless ferocious birds. At this time, Fierce Tiger King and Wu Zhao had already withdrawn their troops and returned to their respective cities. However, this battle did not end because of this. How could the sorcerer tribe let go of an excuse to send troops so easily? Wu Zhao, this bastard! How dare he scheme against me? Night fell. In the Flying Tiger City's City Lord residence, Fierce Tiger King was so angry that he smashed the table in front of him. The dishes on the table fell to the ground. Your Majesty, what should we do now? All the generals present were taken aback. What else can we do? I will fight to the death with Wu Zhao this time. The Fierce Tiger King was enraged. He was about to go crazy. All the warriors were speechless. At this time, Xiaoya told Gu Fei about the sorcerer tribe's movements. It seems like the lesson that the sorcerer tribe has received is not enough, Gu Fei said calmly. However, it was only Shamaning who had died. He had not truly hurt the sorcerer tribe. It seemed that he could no longer be merciful to the sorcerer tribe. Last time, it was for the sake of the Shaman Emperor and the Heaven Shaman Priest. Li Kuang only killed Wu Ying and then asked everyone in the Shaman tribe to get out of the southern barbarian royal capital. To the sorcerer tribe, this kind of punishment was nothing. Master, the sorcerer tribe has gone too far. What do you think? Xiaoya's childish face was filled with murderous intent. She was not a little girl, but the reincarnation of a powerful god. Now, her memory had almost recovered. You've lived 2 lives, yet you're still so impatient. You! Gu Fei shook his head and let out a sigh. Xiaoya was speechless and didn't dare to speak anymore. She stood obediently at the side. It turned out that Master just wanted to watch the show. Let them jump around first. Gu Fei pondered for a while before saying. He also wanted to know who gave East King and the sorcerer tribe the courage to provoke him. At this time, in the middle sky, the territory of the battle sect, all the disciples of the battle sect were in action. They were searching for 3 people. The first was Man Yu, the second was Mu Tianfeng, and the third was Mr. Autumn Water. The portraits of these 3 people were all over the streets and alleys of the countless cities under the control of the battle sect. The battle sect offered a sky-high reward. Anyone who could provide information about these 3 people would be rewarded handsomely. Countless people who wanted to achieve meteoric success were all incomparably excited. One must know that the reward offered by the battle sect was really incomparably enviable. The unusual actions of the battle sect surprised the other forces in the middle sky. However, Everyone knew that the battle sect would not put out a bounty for these 3 people for no reason. There must be some inside information that they didn't know. Hence, all the major forces in the Middle Sky sent their spies into the territory of the battle sect. Very soon, all the major forces in the Middle Sky knew why the battle sect wanted to kill these 3 people. These 3 people were actually the remnants of the barbarian emperor. The identity of the most wanted criminal of the battle sect was even more shocking. That person was actually the only remaining son of the barbarian emperor, Man Yu. This guy actually didn't die and even escaped to the Middle Sky. What did this guy want to do in the Middle Sky? Man Yu was Gu Fei's enemy. The battle between Gu Fei and the Ling Tian Palace Master had shocked the world. How could the major forces in the Middle Sky not know of Gu Fei's name? This Man Yu was now a street rat that everyone wanted to kill. All the major forces in the Middle Sky finally understood why the battle sect wanted to put out a bounty for Man Yu and the other 2 people. One must know that Gu Fei was an amazing person who could go against the Ling Tian Palace Master. If they captured Man Yu and sent him to Gu Fei, there would be a lot of benefits. No one was willing to miss this good opportunity to make friends with Gu Fei. Therefore, all the major forces in the Middle Sky had the thought of capturing Man Yu alive. In this way, Man Yu and the others would find it difficult to move an inch in the Middle Sky. Of course, those major figures in the Middle Sky guessed wrongly this time. The reason why Wang Dezhan wanted to capture Man Yu wasn't because he wanted to make friends with Gu Fei, but because of Long Xiaozhou. Long Xiaozhou personally asked Wang Dezhan to capture Man Yu, so how could Wang Dezhan dare to say no? One must know that the West Sea Old Dragon Emperor was Wang Dezhan's master. This junior sister was the apple of the West Sea Old Dragon Emperor's eye. At this time, in a deep mountain forest, Mr. Qiushui and the battle sect's vice sect master Lao were still fighting. They fought as they moved, destroying everything in their path. This was a battle between half-step emperors. Long Xiaozhou and her shadow were still chasing after Mu Tianfeng and Man Yu. However, Mu Tianfeng was very cunning. He left very few traces along the way. If it wasn't for her shadow being proficient in tracking techniques, Mu Tianfeng and Man Yu would have long escaped without a trace. However, Long Xiaozhou and the others still didn't see Mu Tianfeng and Man Yu's shadow. These 2 fellows are too cunning. Long Xiaozhou was filled with hatred. Actually, Gu Fei didn't put these clowns in his eyes. He even dared to kill the Ling Tian Palace Master without hesitation, let alone the others? In the entire Void Realm, the only person who could truly threaten Gu Fei was the Ling Tian Palace Master. In the Sky Meteor Mountain, Su Qingyun, Dong Wang and the others finally saw the mysterious person in the depths of the valley. When they saw this person, they were dumbfounded. This person was like a dried corpse, sitting in a pavilion. His emaciated appearance made people's hearts palpitate. He was already extremely weak, as though he could stop breathing at any time. You are the myriad transformations ancestor? Chapter 50-27. Who would become the true overlord of Nanman in the end? The 3 major forces were competing for hegemony in Nanman. War broke out again. While Gu Fei was in seclusion, East King personally led 1,000,000 troops to attack Nanman capital. Who gave East King the courage to do so? Wu Zhao, the Witch King of the Sorcerer tribe, also fought with fierce Tiger King. The area between Flying Tiger City and Black Wolf City became a battlefield. Battles of all sizes kept erupting, and both sides suffered heavy casualties. North Garrison King couldn't sit still any longer. He led his elite troops to attack the eastern region. However, North Garrison King's territory was in the north of Nanman. North Garrison King's army wouldn't be able to reach the eastern region anytime soon. Yet Patriarch Tianhong's performance was beyond everyone's expectations. He had used the Sky Scorpion mountain range as a natural stronghold to set up a killing array and block East King's 1,000,000 troops. The power of the array Dao shocked everyone once again. At this time, Gu Fei couldn't be bothered with any of this. These clowns weren't qualified for him to deal with them personally. There weren't many people in the entire Void Realm who were worthy of him dealing with them personally. However, East King and Witch King Wu Zhao were all trash in his eyes. At this time, East King brought Mu Gaofeng to Sky Meteor Mountain under the guidance of military advisor Su Qingyun. They entered a sealed area in the back mountain. No one knew that the back mountain of the heavenly meteor mountain in the middle of nowhere actually hid a fairyland-like paradise. In the depths of this valley, there lived an existence with a great background. It was the legendary Myriad Transformation Patriarch, an expert of the Array Dao 10,000 years ago. Back then, Myriad Transformation Patriarch and Tianhong, the Array Dao Patriarch of the Towering Heaven Palace, were known as the Array Dao Duo. They were publicly recognized as the two strongest existences in the Array Dao. However, when East King and the others saw the legendary person in a pavilion deep in the valley, they were dumbfounded. This legendary person was actually an old man who was so skinny that he was only skin and bones, sitting on a rattan chair. The old man's eyes were lifeless, and his breathing was weak. He seemed to be dying. "Why? Are you disappointed?" That old voice rang out as the old man looked at Dong Wang and the rest mockingly. "Old senior you!" Su Qingyun, in particular, was already mentally prepared, but when he saw the state the old man was in, his eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. "His meridians are all broken, and he's poisoned. It's already good that he's not dead," the old man on the rattan chair said indifferently. "Su Junjun, you actually brought us to find a cripple?" When Mu Gaofeng heard this, he immediately collapsed, his face full of displeasure. So what if this guy was the legendary Myriad Transformation's ancestor? His meridians were all broken, and he seemed to have been poisoned. Such a cripple could not be more crippled. What was the use of finding such a useless person? "Who are you calling a cripple?" The old man suddenly raised his eyes and glared at Mu Gaofeng. 2 rays of cold light shot out of his eyes towards Mu Gaofeng. It wasn't a gaze, it was just a look. However, Mu Gaofeng felt like his guts were about to explode from the elder's glare. He was quite frightened. Mu Gaofeng was shocked to the extreme. He was actually scared by a look from this trash. Only then did he realize that his clothes were drenched in cold sweat. Even Dong Wang's heart trembled. This guy wasn't simple. Even if he was really crippled, he was still incredible. "Haha, old senior, my friend misspoke. I apologize on his behalf." Su Qingyun smiled and cupped his hands in greeting. "Scram! This little guy actually dared to call me trash. Kowtow and apologize, or else I'll kill you." The old man roared with a sinister expression. "TCH, a piece of trash like you can still kill me?" Mu Gaofeng mocked. He was a dignified Peak Divine King expert, but he was actually scared by a look from a cripple. This made him extremely unhappy. "Preposterous!" The old man flew into a rage. In the next moment, the entire valley suddenly darkened. Streaks of glaring lightning that made people's hearts palpitate suddenly appeared in the sky above the valley. The sky had been clear a moment ago, but in the next moment, it was covered in dark clouds. This was clearly the old man's doing. Formation! At this moment, Dong Wang suddenly woke up. If this old man really was the legendary Myriad Transformation's ancestor, then this valley definitely had an incomparably powerful formation. No wonder this guy was still so strong even though he was crippled. Before Mu Gaofeng could react, he was struck by a bolt of lightning that descended from the sky. His hair became like a broom, his face was charred black, and his body was emitting black smoke. He was completely dumbfounded. Dong Wang and Su Qingyun, who were at the side, were shocked. "In my eyes, you guys are the trash. Otherwise, why are you guys looking for me?" The old man swept a cold glance at Dong Wang and the others with a look of disdain. Hearing the old man's words, Dong Wang and Su Qingyun were displeased. However, when Dong Wang thought about how he could break old ancestor Sky Rainbow's formation if he could get this fellow to help him, Dong Wang suppressed his anger. "Old senior, don't you want the fruit of immortality?" Su Qingyun still had a calm expression. "Humph, after killing you guys, the fruit of immortality will still be mine," the old man sneered. He was determined to eat these guys up. Because these guys were in his valley, in his territory. If he wanted them to live, they could live. If he wanted them dead, they wouldn't be able to live. Haha, what if we destroyed the fruit of immortality? Dongwang, who had been silent all this while, suddenly said. You guys dare? The old man immediately glared at Dongwang. Why wouldn't we dare? Dongwang looked at the old man coldly. The two of them glared at each other. After a while, the old man suddenly laughed. He laughed so happily that tears came out of his eyes. Very good. You have the look of a hero. You must be the master of these two trash. The old man stopped smiling and stared at Dongwang with a serious expression. No matter how good Su Qingyun and Mu Gaofeng's temperament was, they were still angry after being called trash. Dongwang stood with his hands behind his back and didn't say anything. Hand over the fruit of immortality. I can do one thing for you guys. The old man suddenly grinned and said such words. Two things, Dongwang said indifferently. Don't push your luck. The old man stopped smiling and said coldly. Since we can't come to an agreement, let's not talk anymore. Dongwang's face was cold. The old man suddenly straightened his body and stared at Dongwang. At this time, Mu Gaofeng and Su Qingyun stared nervously at the old man sitting on the rattan chair. Cold sweat seeped out of their foreheads, and their palms were sweaty. Especially Su Qingyun, who knew the old man's background. In the old man's territory, no one could stay calm. You have guts. Tell me, what do you want me to do for you? The old man sighed and lay back on the rattan chair. Mu Gaofeng and Su Qingyun were overjoyed when they heard this. They also heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 50-28. On Heavenly Meteor Mountain, Myriad Transformation Ancestor agreed to Dongwang's conditions and promised to do two things for him in exchange for the immortal fruit. Tell me, what's the first thing? In a pavilion deep in the valley, Myriad Transformation Ancestor looked at Dongwang indifferently. The first thing is to submit to me. Dongwang's eyes shot out two sharp rays of light, directly towards Myriad Transformation Ancestor. However, Myriad Transformation Ancestor ignored Dongwang's gaze. It was really child's play. When he was dominating the world, these guys were still playing in the mud. Who did he want to scare with a mere gaze? You want me to submit to you? Myriad Transformation Ancestor's eyes also shot out a sharp gaze, and an incomparably domineering power erupted from his body. Mu Gaofeng and Su Qingyun, who had just heaved a sigh of relief, immediately felt as if a divine mountain was pressing down on them. Although this Myriad Transformation Ancestor was crippled, his power was still there. What can't I? Dongwang was very domineering. No, you don't have the qualifications to make me submit to you. Myriad Transformation Ancestor said coldly. What if I insist? Dongwang's tone was extremely firm. Then we'll go our separate ways. Myriad Transformation Ancestor stared at Dongwang, not giving in at all. Who was he? He was the overlord of a generation 10,000 years ago. What ability did this guy have to actually want him to submit to him? This was simply a dream. He could not possibly agree. Just like that, the two of them were in a deadlock. Lord! Su Qingyun tugged at Dongwang's clothes. Dongwang actually wanted an old antique like Myriad Transformation Ancestor to submit to him. How could this be possible? How could such a person submit to others? All right, I want to be the master of South China. Can you do it? Dongwang gritted his teeth and no longer persisted, because he was also very clear that it was basically impossible to make Myriad Transformation Ancestor submit. Deal! Myriad Transformation Ancestor nodded. The second thing? Myriad Transformation Ancestor asked. Wait until I think of it. Dongwang stood with his hands behind his back and said, indifferently. All right, hand over the immortal fruit. Myriad Transformation Ancestor directly reached out to Dongwang. Without hesitation, Dongwang took out the immortal fruit sealed in a jade box and threw it to Myriad Transformation's Patriarch. Myriad Transformation's Ancestor took the immortal fruit and swallowed it in one gulp. Haha, I'm leaving the mountain. The Myriad Transformation's Patriarch threw his head back and laughed. His voice grew louder and louder until the entire valley rumbled, causing Dong Wang and the rest's ears to ring. However, the changes in the myriad transformations ancestor's body caused Dong Wang and the others' eyes to almost fall out of their sockets. The myriad transformations ancestor, who looked like a bag of bones, swelled up like a ball. The appearance of the myriad transformations ancestor was rapidly changing. His entire being was transforming towards his peak state, and a powerful wave of energy was recovering from his body. The founder of the myriad immortal transformation sect was indeed powerful. It was just an immortal fruit, but it was enough to revive him, who was extremely weak. Moreover, a layer of black substance seeped out of the myriad transformation's ancestor's body. This black substance gave off a strong stench. Mu Gaofeng and Su Qingyun covered their noses and ran out of the pavilion. In the end, even Dong Wang couldn't help but walk out of the pavilion. It couldn't be helped, it was just too smelly. After a few hours, a divine light rushed out of the sky meteor mountain and instantly disappeared into the void. What is that? Could it be that a divine treasure has appeared on the sky meteor mountain? On a short mountain outside the sky meteor mountain, two cultivators happened to see the divine light that disappeared in the blink of an eye. They were extremely excited. It should be known that the sky meteor mountain was where the myriad immortal transformation sect used to be. Over the past thousands of years, divine treasures had been revived on the sky meteor mountain from time to time, and many people had obtained the divine treasures of the sky meteor mountain. The fact that there were divine treasures on the sky meteor mountain was not a secret. However, over the past tens of thousands of years, countless people had turned the entire sky meteor mountain upside down, but no one had found the place where the myriad immortal transformation sect had hidden its treasures. Actually, no one knew that all of this was the doing of the myriad transformation sect. The so-called divine treasures of the sky meteor mountain were also released by the myriad transformation sect. He would release 1 or 2 divine treasures every once in a while to attract people to the sky meteor mountain. The purpose of doing so was very simple, which was to lure these people into the valley and then capture them. The myriad transformation sect had poisoned these people and made them search for the immortality fruit for him. However, tens of thousands of years had passed, and no one could find the immortality fruit for him. And most of the people who were controlled by him were also dead. He had waited for tens of thousands of years and had been trapped in the valley for such a long time. He was about to go crazy. In fact, if the East King had persisted a little longer, perhaps he would have bowed down. In the end, the older the wiser. At this time, in the Sky Scorpion Mountain Range in the southern barbaric eastern region, murderous auras soared to the sky. The myriad transformation sect master was confronting the East King's million-strong army. He blocked the East King's million-strong army with his own strength, shocking the world. And in another region, the fierce Tiger King and the Shaman King were fighting, but after a series of battles, both sides suffered heavy losses. The current situation was very bad for the fierce Tiger King because the armies of the other Shaman Kings had also appeared near the Flying Tiger City. It was naturally not a good thing that the armies of the other Shaman Kings had appeared near the Flying Tiger City. Among the 19 southern barbaric vassal kings, although 11 of them had sided with Gu Fei, the only ones who were willing to contribute were the fierce Tiger King and the North Garrison King. The other vassal kings were fence-sitters and were watching. These vassal kings would not easily send troops to help the fierce Tiger King. The vassal king closest to the fierce Tiger King was the Elephant King. The Elephant King's territory was less than 300 miles away from the Flying Tiger City. If he was willing to send troops, the Shaman King Wu Zhao would have long been defeated. In fact, the military strength of the witch race could not compete with the military strength of the 11 great vassal kings. But now, the Shaman Emperor had come out of seclusion, and Gu Fei was in seclusion. Who would dare to offend the witch race? What should I do? In the main hall of the Flying Tiger City, the fierce Tiger King was having a headache. Once the other Shaman Kings brought troops over with murderous intent, he would definitely not be able to withstand it. He and Wu Zhao had only fought to a draw. If any Shaman King joined forces with Wu Zhao, he, the fierce Tiger King, would definitely lose. Your Majesty, I think we should prepare for the worst, the fierce Tiger King's military advisor said. That's right. The others in the main hall could not help but nod. This was the safest way. Even if they could not defend the Flying Tiger City, they could still retreat calmly. If the fierce Tiger King was captured by Wu Zhao and the others, it would be a great humiliation. After the North Garrison King judged the current situation, he decisively led his army to attack the Flying Tiger City. He could not just watch the fierce Tiger King be defeated by Wu Zhao. This North Garrison King is not bad. Gu Fei, who had been watching the show from the southern barbaric royal capital, could not help but nod in approval of the North Garrison King's decision after hearing Xiaoya's report. This North Garrison King was quite capable in the field of military warfare. Chapter 50-29. The war in Nanman started again. East King's million-strong army headed west and charged straight to the Sky Scorpion Mountains. However, they were stopped by the killing formation set up by Patriarch Tianhong. As for Wu Zhao of the Sorcerer tribe, he used a crafty plot to lure the fierce Tiger King into attacking him. Wu Zhao and the fierce Tiger King fought fiercely, and both sides suffered heavy casualties. However, the current situation was very unfavorable for Gu Fei's faction. No one knew that Gu Fei had already come out of seclusion. Therefore, both the East King and the Sorcerer tribe were somewhat unrestrained. The Sorcerer race had the backing of the Sorcerer Sovereign, while the East King had the backing of the Ling Tian Palace. Hence, they had the confidence to compete with Gu Fei. The Shaman Emperor had been in seclusion for so long, and no one knew what level his cultivation had reached. Because after the Shaman Emperor came out from his seclusion, he very rarely showed himself, and he didn't fight with anyone. Hence, the Shaman Emperor's strength was a mystery. Even those Shaman Kings didn't know exactly what level the Shaman Emperor's strength had reached. The East King had an inextricable relationship with the Ling Tian Palace. With the Ling Tian Palace supporting him, the East King was even more confident than the Sorcerer tribe. At that moment, the North Conqueror King led his army and charged toward Flying Tiger City. The North Vanquishing King's movement immediately attracted the attention of all the experts in southern wilderness. The Sorcerer tribe seemed to be mobilizing their troops as well. The Sorcerer tribe's army appeared less than 50 miles north of Flying Tiger City. The Witch King, Wu Fang, did not approve of provoking Gu Fei. However, at this point in time, they had already provoked him. The 5 parties could only gather their troops and set up camp in the north of Flying Tiger City. However, Wu Fang did not attack Flying Tiger City immediately, which made Wu Zhao very unhappy. This was a great opportunity to eliminate the fierce Tiger King. What was Wu Fang waiting for? Could it be that he was waiting for the Northern Garrison King to arrive and join forces with the fierce Tiger King? At that time, it would be difficult for them to kill the fierce Tiger King and the North Garrison King. Wu Fang, what do you mean? Wu Zhao barged into Wu Fang's camp and rushed into his tent, shouting at Wu Fang. Impudent! This is my territory, yet you're barging around here. You're simply not putting me in your eyes. Wu Fang pointed at Wu Zhao and cursed. You! I didn't come here to quarrel with you. I've sent people here many times to ask you to send troops. Why are you still not moving? Wu Zhao shouted. Do you think I'll do it just because you tell me to? Who do you think you are? Wu Fang said coldly. What do you mean by this? If you and I join forces, annihilating the ferocious Tiger King is as easy as flipping our hands. What exactly are you worried about? Wu Zhao clenched his teeth and said. He was really angry. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and Wu Fang actually ignored it. What was he thinking? Don't you know what I'm worried about? Wu Fang asked. I'll say it again. Are you going to send troops or not? Wu Zhao stared fiercely at Wu Fang and said. If you want me to send out my troops, that's fine too. But only if you bring me the Wizard Emperor's personal decree, or the Great Wizard King's token of authority, will I send out my troops. Wu Fang looked at Wu Zhao indifferently. You win. Wu Zhao stared at Wu Fang for a while before he roared angrily and turned to leave. If Wu Fang wasn't willing to send out his troops, then he would find someone who was willing to send troops to join forces. He didn't believe it. Was there really no wizard king who was willing to send troops? Sigh. Seeing Wu Zhao leave, Wu Fang suddenly let out a long sigh. The sorcerer tribe and Gu Fei's camp had started a war. If they angered Gu Fei, the consequences would be disastrous. Although Wu Zhao was a little smart, in front of an absolutely powerful person, all schemes and tricks were useless. The shaman's victory was a lesson to learn from. That Wu Ying thought he was smart and wanted to test Gu Fei. However, Gu Fei didn't care whether he tested him or not. He would kill him the moment he appeared. Wu Zhao was playing with his own life now. If Gu Fei came out of seclusion and found Wu Zhao and killed him, who in the sorcerer tribe would dare to say anything? The strong were respected. This was the eternal truth of this world. Your Majesty, the North Garrison King's army will arrive at Flying Tiger City in about 2 days. A general behind Wu Fang wanted to say something but stopped. Let's wait and see. I'm a little uneasy these few days. It seems that something bad is going to happen. Wu Fang frowned. The lips of the general behind Wu Fang moved, but in the end, he didn't say anything. Compared to the area around Feihu's city that was at daggers drawn, the southern man capital was very calm. However, everyone knew that this was only the calmness on the surface. In the southern man capital, ever since Gu Fei asked all the sorcerer tribe people to get lost, not a single sorcerer tribe person could be seen in the southern man capital. Now, those who controlled the southern man capital were the forces of the vassal kings who had submitted to Gu Fei. The only person these vassal kings were afraid of was Gu Fei. On the surface, they were respectful to goddess Lilia, but secretly, they didn't care about a little girl at all. The current southern man capital was divided up by the 11 vassal kings, and each had their own sphere of influence. Even the fierce Tiger King and the North Garrison King also had a territory in the southern man capital. Lilia turned a blind eye to these and let these vassal kings do whatever they wanted. The entire southern man capital was in a foul atmosphere because of these vassal kings. However, no matter what these vassal kings did in the southern man capital, they didn't dare to extend their hands into the imperial palace. This was because the imperial palace was an absolute forbidden place for the vassal kings. Whoever dared to extend their hands into the imperial palace was a traitor. For traitors, Gu Fei's punishment was very simple, and that was to directly slap them to death. Gu Fei even dared to get rid of the wilderness, let alone these vassal kings. Master, those guys in the city are getting more and more impudent. In the inner hall of the southern man imperial palace, Lilia carefully said to Gu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged on the throne. Let's just treat it as a show. Gu Fei said indifferently. At this time, he was actually thinking about whether or not to refine a suitable weapon, because the Dao artifacts he refined were left for Yener and his daughter Gu Ling. He currently didn't have a Dao artifact that he refined himself. Although he had the Emperor Beheaded saber and the golden armor and golden spear from the barbarian emperor, these were not his own Dao artifacts. For Gu Fei, the most suitable Dao artifact for himself was the Dao artifact that he refined himself. Previously, his cultivation was not enough to refine powerful Dao artifacts, but now it was different. He had restored his cultivation to the eternal realm, so naturally, he could refine an eternal-level Dao artifact. However, what kind of Dao artifact to refine and what materials to use to refine, this was a great knowledge that must not be sloppy. Throughout the myriad worlds, the bell, cauldron, and sword were the 3 most common Dao artifacts. He had refined the 9 Heaven Stars sword, but he had not refined the bell and cauldron. Chapter 50-30. While East King and the Sorcerer tribe were attacking Gu Fei's camp, Gu Fei was thinking about how to forge his own Dao artifact. Only a Dao artifact forged by himself would be the most suitable for him. Gu Fei didn't put East King and the Sorcerer tribe in his eyes. They were just small fries and weren't qualified for him to make a move. Only an expert at the level of Palace Master Ling Tian would be qualified to be Gu Fei's opponent. Forging a Tao artifact was not an easy task. Forging a Tao artifact required materials. The materials that Gu Fei wanted were definitely not ordinary materials. Next was the place to forge a Tao artifact. To forge an eternal-grade Tao artifact, he needed a place where spiritual energy gathered. There was a place to forge a Tao artifact. The Earth Ancestor vein deep under the southern barbarian royal capital was a good place. However, materials were difficult to obtain. In the Void Realm, it was not easy to find a suitable peerless material. Master, you want to forge a Tao artifact? Xiaoya was curious. Her master seemed to know everything. Was her master an omnipotent peerless expert? Just thinking about it. Peerless materials are hard to come by. Gu Fei sighed. Hearing this, Xiaoya directly walked out of the palace hall. Then, she led some people to the palace treasury and searched it inside and out. Obviously, Xiaoya wasn't able to find any peerless divine materials in the treasure vault of the Imperial Palace because Man Yu had taken away everything he could before leaving the Imperial Palace. The things left in the treasury were things that even Man Yu didn't care about. Gu Fei didn't care about this trash at all. Peerless materials could only be found and not sought. Gu Fei had no other choice. Just as Gu Fei was thinking about forging a Tao artifact, Long Xiao was still chasing after Man Yu and Mu Tianfeng. Mr. Qiushui fought with Liao for a few rounds, but Mr. Qiushui escaped. This made the vice sect master of the battle sect furious. Although the battle sect wasn't a first-rate power in Middle Sky, their territory wasn't small. Mu Tianfeng brought Man Yu and fled towards the direction of Extreme Devil Cave. Long Xiaozhou's Tao Protector was a ruthless character who was proficient in stealth and tracking techniques. It would not be easy for Mu Tianfeng to get rid of Long Xiaozhou and the others. They followed the trail all the way to a small town. This small town was located at the border between the Battle Sect and the Nine Mysteries Sect. The Nine Mysteries Gate was a sect of the same level as the Battle Gate. The Nine Mysteries Gate's sect master was a half-step Emperor Realm cultivator, and his subordinates were as many as the clouds in the sky. The Nine Mysteries Gate was located on the Nine Mysteries Mountain, hence its name. Long Xiaozhou entered the small town. Her arrival did not alarm anyone. Along the way, Long Xiaozhou suddenly stopped in front of a shed by the street. There were many people drinking and eating meat in the shed. She walked directly into the shed and arrived in front of an old man and a young man. The old man and the young man stopped and looked up at Long Xiaozhou. Run, why aren't you running anymore? Long Xiaozhou looked at the old man and the young man and sneered. Young lady, please don't disturb us grandfather and grandson eating. The old man said coldly. You still want to eat? Don't tell me you want to die of hunger? Long Xiaozhou said with a smile. At this time, the other people in the wine shed saw that the situation was not right, so they paid their bills and left. I don't know what you're talking about, the old man said angrily. Is that so? Then go to hell. Long Xiaozhou flipped his right hand and a saber immediately appeared in his hand. Let's go! The old man grabbed the young man beside him and shot into the sky, smashing through the roof and rushing out. You can go down now! The mysterious and unfathomable shadow made his move. A large net fell from the sky, directly enveloping the old man and the young man. What? The old man was shocked. In the next moment, he immediately struck out an incomparably sharp blade of light towards the large net that was falling from the sky. The blade of light struck the large net but was actually unable to cut it, causing the old man and the young man to be shocked. They could only rush down from the sky, return to the wine shed, and then rush out of the wine shed. However, at this moment, a blade of light directly slashed towards the old man and the young man, and an extremely sharp blade energy immediately erupted. The old man didn't even think and directly grabbed the young man. With a bang, he directly smashed through the wooden wall of the wine shed and rushed out of the wine shed. At this moment, everyone in the wine shed had escaped, and the startled residents of the small town were watching from afar with fear. Still thinking of escaping at this time? Long Xiaozhou slashed the wine shed into two with a single slash, and the sharp blade light shot out hundreds of zhang, forcing the old man and the young man to dodge once again. You're going too far. The old man roared angrily. Mu Tianfeng, man you won't be able to escape today. Long Xiao grabbed the emperor beheading blade and directly rushed towards the old man. The cold blade energy was vast and mighty, and the surrounding temperature dropped rapidly. It turned out that the old man and the young man were actually Mu Tianfeng and Man Yu in disguise. However, they never would have thought that even though they had already changed their appearances, they were still found by Long Xiaozhou. Kill! Mu Tianfeng was furious. He threw Man Yu out, and both his hands quickly danced. Blade of light after blade of light covered the sky and the earth as they slashed towards Long Xiaozhou. However, Long Xiaozhou merely shook the emperor beheading blade in his hand, and a powerful blade energy fluctuation spread out. All of the blade of light that was slashing towards him directly collapsed in the air. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Mu Tianfeng rushed over, grabbed Man Yu, and fled. Long Xiaozhou's mysterious shadow punched Mu Tianfeng's back, the berserk fist force exploded, and Mu Tianfeng directly pounced forward. He used this fist energy to grab Man Yu, and in an instant, he was far away. What? Long Xiaozhou directly raised his blade and chased after him. However, Mu Tianfeng had already disappeared into the mountains outside the town with Man Yu, and they were nowhere to be seen. Although Man Yu didn't make a move, his ability to escape was not weak. Damn it! Long Xiaozhou was shocked and angry. This Mu Tianfeng really had some ability to actually let them escape like this. However, Long Xiaozhou wasn't worried, because her shadow protector was proficient in tracking. She wanted to see where these two fellows could escape to. At this moment, Mr. Qiushui was also in an incomparably sorry state. He was caught up by Lao again. After a great battle, there were a few more wounds on his body. However, compared to Mu Tianfeng and Man Yu, Mr. Qiushui easily got rid of Lao. They were all heading towards the extreme devil cave. This caused Long Xiaozhou to be very shocked. What were these fellows trying to do? To the extreme devil cave? Chapter 50-31. Long Xiaozhou was shocked after guessing the reason why Man Yu and the others came to End Sky. Extreme Devil Cave was a forbidden area for all living beings in the Void Realm. Even Emperor Realm existences didn't dare to enter that place. That place had caused many disasters that shook the entire Void Realm. Extreme Devil Cave was definitely one of the most terrifying places in the Void Realm. It was the origin of the Void Realm's devils. All the devils in the Void Realm came from there. If an ordinary creature were to barge into this devil origin land, it would turn into a terrifying monster. If those beings with extremely high cultivations were to barge in, they would turn into demons and bring disaster to the world. Something like this had happened in the Void Realm before. A severely injured and dying emperor had walked into the extreme demon cave in despair. When he came out, he had transformed into a terrifying demon emperor and started a massacre in the Void Realm. When the devil emperor came out, he almost turned the Void Realm into a devil land. In the end, Ling Tian Palace joined forces with the 5 emperors to fight against the devil emperor. Only then did they manage to kill the devil emperor. Could it be that Man Yu borrowed the power of the devil to obtain the power to fight against Gu Fei? However, the power of the devil Dao was very difficult to control. If one wasn't careful, they would lose themselves and become a devil that only knew how to kill. Long Xiaozhou thought, how could this be? She immediately sent a message to the West Sea and gathered the experts of the Dragon Clan. The West Sea was very far from End Sky, but they could travel between the two places through teleportation formations. After receiving Long Xiaozhou's message, the West Sea Dragon Clan immediately sent 10 experts to End Sky. Among the 10 experts was the Black Dragon King, who had once led an army into the southern barbarians. He was a ruthless character. The 10 experts of the West Sea Dragon Clan were led by the Black Dragon King to Battle City. Following that, one formidable aura after another appeared within Battle City, causing the cultivators within the city to fall into a state of panic. The Battle Gate Sect Master, Wang Dozhan, personally welcomed these experts from the West Sea Dragon Clan. The Black Dragon King didn't stop there. He directly left Battle City and rushed to the extreme Devil Cave. They wanted to wait for their prey. No matter where Mu Gaofeng and Man Yu hid, they would still have to go to the extreme Devil Cave. Only in extreme Devil Cave could they obtain great power. However, there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Even bird droppings were common. If one wanted to obtain great power, one had to pay the price. Becoming a demon was the price. Wang Dozhan also followed the Black Dragon King and the others towards the extreme demon cave. The depths of the extreme Devil Mountain Range were shrouded in devil qi all year round. In this mountain range, the most common creatures were devil beasts. These were all beasts that had been infected by devil qi and had been demonized. Of course, there were also demon birds. The extreme Demon Mountain Range was the only place in the mirage where magical beasts could be found. Moreover, there were many magical beasts in the mountain range. In the deepest part of the mountain range, there were even magical beast emperors. The emperor of magical beasts was in existence that could contend against human emperor realm cultivators. The extreme Devil Mountain Range wasn't small at all. It was at least 4,000 miles wide. The central region of the extreme Devil Mountain Range was filled with devil qi. There was a huge underground cavern there that constantly emitted devil qi. The roars of demonic beasts could be heard from time to time in the extreme Devil Mountain Range. On the outskirts of the extreme Devil Mountain Range, there were cities built. There were many cities like this outside the extreme Devil Mountain Range. On the outskirts of the extreme Devil Mountain Range, there were many temples. The extreme Devil Mountain Range was the territory of the Zenith Buddha clan. For countless years, the Zenith Buddha clan had been suppressing the countless demonic beasts in the extreme Devil Mountain Range for glory. The cities outside the extreme Devil Mountain Range were also under the control of the Zenith Buddha clan. The Black Dragon King led the West Sea Dragon clan's experts to the Blessed Buddha city outside the extreme Devil Mountain Range. The Blessed Buddha city was the biggest city among the 17 cities outside the extreme Devil Mountain Range. It was also the most important city because it was located at the biggest entrance of the extreme Devil Mountain Range. This was also the place where the demonic beasts in the extreme Devil Mountain Range attacked the most. Every year, there would be a beast tide in the extreme Devil Mountain Range, and the Blessed Buddha city was the first to bear the brunt of it. Every year, many people in the Blessed Buddha city died under the claws of the demonic beasts while defending against the beast tide. However, the Blessed Buddha city wasn't the only entrance to the extreme Devil Mountain Range. No one knew which entrance Man Yu and the others would use to enter the extreme Devil Mountain Range. The manpower that the Black Dragon King brought was far from enough. Fortunately, Wang Dozhan had mobilized many disciples from the Sect of Battle. Very soon, the people from the Sect of Battle were keeping an eye on the 17 cities. In this way, as long as Man Yu and the others entered the 17 cities, they would be discovered by the Black Dragon King. Just as Long Xiaozhou opened the sack and waited for the demons to come in, the situation in the southern barbarian capital changed again. The fierce Tiger King's army and the North Vanquishing King's army finally met. These two fellows joined hands to attack the Black Wolf City. This shocked the Shaman King, Wu Zhao. Wu Zhao's army couldn't withstand the combined might of the fierce Tiger King and the North Vanquishing King. Very soon, the Black Wolf City was breached by the combined forces of the two vassal kings. Countless soldiers rushed into the Black Wolf City. Wu Zhao had no choice but to give up. He abandoned the city and fled. The other shaman kings of the sorcerer tribe didn't come to his aid. They just let the fierce Tiger King and the North Vanquishing King attack the Black Wolf City. The shaman Fang's army was nearby, but he still chose to stand by and watch. It was obvious that the shaman kings of the sorcerer tribe weren't as united as they seemed on the surface. It couldn't be helped, because the shaman emperor didn't care about the affairs of the sorcerer tribe, and the shaman kings didn't respect each other. Wu Zhao was defeated and lost the Black Wolf City. However, on the other side, the East Vanquishing King also made a move. In the sky above the Sky Scorpion Mountain Range, the two ancestors of Array Dao were fighting. Countless array inscriptions were destroyed in the void, and an extremely terrifying aura filled the sky and the ground. Myriad transformations, old ghost, you're still alive! Ancestor Tianhong was stunned when he saw the myriad transformations ancestor. 10,000 years ago, the myriad transformations celestial sect was extremely powerful and had countless disciples. However, the myriad transformations celestial sect had become a thing of the past. Humph, Tianhong, let's see who's the best in array Dao today. The myriad transformations ancestor sneered. At that moment, the array inscriptions that rushed out from his body intertwined in the void, forming array diagrams that pressed down on the sky scorpion mountain range below. Meanwhile, Ancestor Tianhong controlled the power of array Dao and was also setting up an array. The high sky became the place where the two ancestors of array Dao battled. Chapter 50-32. Gu Fei didn't seem to care about the situation in Nanman at all. He began to refine his own Dao tool and began to send people to look for peerless divine materials. However, peerless divine materials were not so easy to find. Master, what kind of divine materials do you need to refine? In a courtyard of the Nanman Imperial Palace, Gu Fei sat under a big tree in the courtyard, tasting tea, and beside him stood Xiaoya. The morning air was very fresh. Even if it was a mess outside the Imperial Palace, the Nanman Imperial Palace was extremely quiet. Moreover, now, the safest place in the entire Nanman, even the entire Nanman Imperial capital, was definitely the Nanman Imperial Palace because it was a forbidden area. Without Gu Fei's summon, no one could step into the Nanman Imperial Palace. Of course, his two disciples, Xiaoya and Long Xiaozhou, were exceptions. It's best if it's 9th heaven divine gold, 9 nether cold iron, or the immortal divine iron bred from the 5 elements of spiritual energy. Gu Fei thought for a moment. What? When Xiaoya heard this, she immediately sweated on her forehead. She had never heard of these things, let alone seen them. Well, this matter is not urgent. You can do what you have to do, Gu Fei said indifferently. Yes, master, then disciple will take his leave. Xiaoya bowed to Gu Fei, then turned and walked out. Boring! Why don't I go to the land of void beginning to have a look? Gu Fei wanted to go out for a walk after a long period of silence. The land of void beginning was a forbidden area in the void realm. Ordinary people couldn't go in at all because there were people from the Tian clan guarding it. Even the palace master of Ling Tian Palace didn't dare to break into the land of void beginning. That girl from Ling Tian Palace is also an outsider. Why don't I go to her to understand the situation first? Gu Fei did as he thought. The next moment, he disappeared in an instant. I'm going out to get some fresh air. If there's anything, crush the protective talisman I gave you. Xiaoya, who had just left the courtyard where Gu Fei was, heard Gu Fei's voice in her head. Xiaoya was shocked. Her master had left. What could she do? Her greatest confidence and reliance was her master. However, no one knew that master had come out of seclusion, so the people outside did not dare to be too presumptuous. In the entire southern wilderness, even in the entire void realm, who didn't know how powerful Gu Fei was? He had killed the barbarian emperor, insulted Ling Tian Palace master, and dared to fight against him. This was Gu Fei, domineering to the extreme. The Ling Tian Palace was naturally above the 9 heavens, and the Ling Tian Palace's ancestral land was really in the heavens, not on the earth. Above the 9 heavens, there was a mysterious place that seemed to be another world. It was very difficult for an ordinary person, even an Emperor realm expert, to find the mountain gate of the Ling Tian Palace. It could be said that without the guidance of the Ling Tian Palace, even an Emperor realm expert would not be able to find the mountain gate of the Ling Tian Palace. However, Gu Fei was an exception. Not only did he find the location of the Ling Tian Palace's mountain gate easily, but he also punched the opponent's defensive formation. Boom! A loud noise shook the entire mountain gate of the Ling Tian Palace. Countless disciples of the Ling Tian Palace were alarmed by this sudden loud noise. Who dares to break into the mountain gate of the Ling Tian Palace? An angry roar came from the mountain gate of the Ling Tian Palace. Then, a middle-aged man in white appeared in front of Gu Fei. Where did this wild kid come from? How dare you attack the mountain gate formation of the Lingtian Palace? Are you tired of living? The middle-aged man was high and mighty as he shouted at Gu Fei arrogantly. Ask the palace master of the Lingtian Palace to come out and see me. Gu Fei didn't put this guy in his eyes at all. What did you say? That person widened his eyes and looked at Gu Fei dumbfoundedly. This guy must be crazy. What? Are you deaf? Didn't you hear what I said? Gu Fei said impatiently. You want to see our palace master? Who do you think you are? Do you think our palace master is someone you can see whenever you want? The middle-aged man in white had a look of disdain and contempt. Sigh, the Lingtian Palace. Gu Fei shook his head and sighed. He seemed to have overestimated the Lingtian Palace. What are you shaking your head for? What are you sighing for? Get lost now. Otherwise, I will send you to reincarnate. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and his face revealed a sinister look. TSK, I am more than happy to let you send me to reincarnate. Come, I am standing right here. Let's see what you are going to use to send me to reincarnate. Gu Fei crossed his arms and said coldly, You are courting death. The middle-aged man roared and threw a punch at Gu Fei. Gu Fei didn't have any intention to make a move. Just as the middle-aged man's fist was about to hit Gu Fei still didn't move. The middle-aged man laughed sinisterly and increased the strength of his fist by 30%. He really wanted to kill Gu Fei because if Gu Fei was an ordinary godly state expert, he would definitely die. Unfortunately, Gu Fei wasn't in the godly state but the transcendent emperor realm. Bam! Kacha! A dull sound was accompanied by the sound of bones breaking and a scream. The middle-aged man who was guarding the mountain gate of the Lingtian Palace was sent flying. It directly smashed through a door of light on the Great Guardian formation. Exclamations could be heard from the light door. Soon, a few figures rushed out from the light door. How dare you come to the Lingtian Palace and behave atrociously? Kill! The leader of the group released his flying sword. An extremely sharp sword radiance turned into a sword rainbow and flew towards Gu Fei. The sword aura was vast and mighty. The temperature of the surrounding void dropped rapidly under the impact of the sword aura. The sword principal expert was only at the peak of the godly king realm. In the eyes of Gu Fei, such an existence was just an ant. Noisy. Gu Fei waved his right hand casually and the sharp sword radiance shattered in the void. What? The Sword King's body trembled violently, and his face turned completely pale. In the next moment, he spat out a mouthful of blood and collapsed to the ground. How is this possible? Seeing this scene, the disciples of the Lingtian Palace who rushed out from the light door were all stunned. This person shattered the Sword Elder's flying sword with a casual wave of his hand? This kind of cultivation was too terrifying. Who exactly are you? A white-haired old man stood out and stared fiercely at Gu Fei. Ask your palace lord to come out and see me. Gu Fei stood with his hands behind his back and looked up at the sky. He didn't care about these people at all. You! All the disciples of the Lingtian Palace were stunned. This guy actually wanted to see the palace lord? You want to see our palace lord? You aren't qualified. A young man shouted at Gu Fei. Haha. I'm not qualified? Gu Fei laughed. What's going on? Haven't you chased away the guy outside? What a bunch of trash. A figure flashed in the light door. In the next moment, another person walked out from the light door. This guy was actually a big fatty. Greetings, Elder Qian. When the disciples of the Lingtian Palace saw this person, they hurriedly bowed to this big fatty. Who dares to cause trouble in the Lingtian Palace? Really gutsy. The person who came was Qian Yishan, the finance elder of the Lingtian Palace. It's me. You have an opinion. Gu Fei smiled and turned to look at Qian Yishan. Oh, Mom. Chapter 50-33. Gu Fei left South Man's capital and went straight to Lingtian Palace. He specifically asked for the palace master of Lingtian Palace. This made the elder guarding the mountain gate of the Lingtian Palace unhappy. How could the palace master of the Ling Tian Palace be someone that anyone could meet? Moreover, this guy was not a big shot. He was just an ordinary godly state lad. How dare he come to Ling Tian Palace and behave atrociously? However, Gu Fei casually shattered the guardian elder's flying sword. This scene made everyone's jaws drop. Ha ha, little fella, you're dead this time. Elder Qian, it's him. He actually dared to attack the guardian elder's mountain guarding formation and threatened to settle the score with our palace master. When the sword elder saw Qianishan, he, who was originally very weak, immediately became spirited. He directly narrated what had happened just now with exaggerated details. However, at this moment, when Qianishan, the finance elder of Ling Tian Palace, saw Gu Fei, he was so scared that his face turned pale and his legs turned to jelly. As for what the sword elder said, he did not hear a single word. Elder Qian, what's wrong with you? The sword elder then noticed Qianishan's abnormality. He was shocked to see that Qianishan seemed to be greatly frightened. Why? Even you, damn fatty, think that I'm not qualified to meet your palace master? Gu Fei looked at Qianishan with a faint smile. Who do you think you are? Go back to where you came from. The white-robed old man roared at Gu Fei. Go? Who the hell are you asking to go? Qianishan roared and slapped the white-clothed old man's face. The slap made the white-clothed old man spin 3 times on the spot and sit on the ground. He was stunned. The elder in white was also a guardian elder. However, compared to Qianishan, he was not even qualified to carry shoes. Qianishan was an inner elder of Ling Tian Palace and one of the core figures. He was in charge of all the finances of Ling Tian Palace and had great power. Although the white-robed old man looked very old, he had only cultivated for a few hundred years. Qianishan and the others had cultivated for at least 10,000 years. Everyone from Ling Tian Palace was dumbfounded. Haha, you don't have to joke with these juniors. How could you not be qualified to meet our palace master? Qianishan turned around and said to Gu Fei with a smile. Even Gu Fei couldn't help but admire this guy's ability to change faces. He had really reached the realm of perfection. Seeing that their elder Qian was fawning over this young man in black, everyone was shocked. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, who would believe that this was true? Qianishan was one of the inner court elders of the Ling Tian Palace who had witnessed the battle between Gu Fei and the Ling Tian Palace master in the southern barbarian royal capital. This Gu Fei was a madman that even the Ling Tian Palace master couldn't do anything to. When he saw that the person was Gu Fei, Qianishan was already scared out of his wits. If Gu Fei wanted to kill them, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. These guys guarding the door actually dared to offend Gu Fei. They must be tired of living. Then, you lead the way, Gu Fei said indifferently. Yes, yes, yes. Please. Qianishan quickly stepped aside and made a gesture to invite him in. When Elder Jian and the white-robed old man saw this scene, they were really shocked. What was going on? Elder Qian actually wanted to bring this guy into Ling Tian Palace? Could this guy really have a great background? At this moment, both Elder Jian and the mountain guarding elder were shivering. They all lowered their heads and didn't dare to look at Gu Fei. Gu Fei calmly walked into the light gate on the mountain guarding formation. Qianishan quickly followed. How dare you barge into my Ling Tian Palace? Die! Gu Fei had just walked into the Ling Tian Palace when a beam of cold light descended from the sky and smashed towards his head. Clang! In the next moment, a giant axe was embedded in Gu Fei's head. Qianishan, who was walking behind, saw this scene and was instantly scared out of his wits. Bam! At this moment, a figure fell from the sky and landed on the ground, causing the ground to tremble. The person who came was a huge man who was 10 feet tall. He was incomparably strong and looked like an iron tower. Compared to this big guy, Gu Fei was simply like a child. He only reached the big guy's chest. You! Seeing that his giant axe was actually embedded in Gu Fei's head, the big guy was also dumbfounded. This guy's head was actually harder than his giant axe. This axe is yours? Gu Fei directly removed the giant axe that was embedded in his head. His head was not injured at all. However, the big guy's giant axe had a head-sized piece. How is this possible? The big guy was dumbfounded. His axe wasn't an ordinary artifact. I'm a very fair person. You hit me with your axe, so I'll return the favor. As Gu-Fei spoke, he directly chopped at the big guy with his axe. Elder, please calm down. A voice sounded, and then a figure suddenly appeared between Gu-Fei and the big guy. What? Gu-Fei withdrew his giant axe because if he chopped down with his axe, even Qianishan, the fatty, would be unlucky. He's the great elder's only son. Qianishan lowered his voice and said to Gu-Fei. So what? Gu-Fei waved his left hand, and Qianishan, who was blocking in front of him, flew out like a ball. In the blink of an eye, no one knew where he went. Then, he raised his hand and chopped down. There was a flash of blood, followed by a scream. The big guy's left arm was directly chopped off. How dare you hurt my son? You're courting death! An angry roar came from afar. The person instantly came close and punched at Gu-Fei. The extremely violent fist force instantly enveloped Gu-Fei. Scram! Gu-Fei waved his right sleeve, and the person who attacked was immediately sent flying. Boom! A small mountain floating in the void was smashed into pieces. Seeing this scene, everyone in Lingtian Palace was dumbfounded. How dare you behave atrociously in Lingtian Palace? The battle elder descended from the sky. However, when he saw Gu-Fei's appearance, he shivered and almost knelt on the ground. Master Gu! The elder of the battle hall stuttered. What's going on? Everyone was shocked to see the dignified elder of the towering Heaven Palace's battle hall acting like a mouse in front of a cat in front of Gu-Fei. That was the battle elder of Lingtian Palace. The other inner elders also rushed over, ready to fight with the intruder. However, when they saw that it was Gu-Fei, all of them were terrified. A bunch of cowards! Chapter 50-34 Master Gu? When the inner sect elders of Lingtian Palace saw that the person who broke into the mountain gate was Gu-Fei, they were dumbfounded. What was this malefic doing here? No one knew why Gu-Fei was here. Little girl from Lingtian Palace, come out and see me. Gu-Fei stood with his hands behind his back and shouted at the largest sacred mountain floating in the void within the Lingtian Palace's mountain gate. What? The upper echelons of Lingtian Palace were so shocked by Gu-Fei that their legs went soft, and they almost fell to the ground. How dare this guy be so presumptuous? You little brat! A voice that sounded like the voice of nature came from the top of the mountain. A figure appeared in front of the Lingtian Palace hall at the peak of the mountain. Palace Master! The upper echelons of Lingtian Palace hurriedly bowed to the figure in front of the hall. Lingtian Palace Master came out. Do you have time to chat? Gu-Fei looked up at the figure on the mountain peak and said indifferently. Your cultivation seems to have increased by quite a bit. Sure, let's have a fight first. Lingtian Palace Master soared into the sky, out of the mountain gate of Lingtian Palace, and arrived outside the 9 heavens. Haha! As you wish! Gu-Fei still stood with his hands behind his back. Then, he soared into the sky and chased after Lingtian Palace Master. The upper echelons of Lingtian Palace were shocked. Their palace master actually wanted to fight with Gu-Fei, and Gu-Fei's cultivation had increased? How long had it been? This Gu-Fei was simply a monster. The rate at which his cultivation was rising was simply too fast. Open the mountain gate! Open the mountain gate! Hurry up! The fat man, Qianishan, shouted at the elder guarding the mountain gate. Yes! The 2 mountain guardian elders hurriedly scrambled towards the mountain guardian formation's formation core. Rumble! The mountain gates of the Lingtian Palace had opened. It had been 1,000 years since the last time the Lingtian Palace had opened its mountain gates. Moreover, the Lingtian Palace had opened its doors to welcome the 5 monarchs who had come to pay their respects to the Lingtian Palace Master. But now, Lingtian Palace had opened their doors for Gu-Fei alone. This was something that Ling Tian Palace had never done before. At this time, the towering Heavenly Palace's mountain gate had only opened a small gap, but the group of towering Heavenly Palace's higher-ups had already rushed out impatiently. Boom! Just as the towering Heavenly Palace's old-timers rushed out, a thunderous boom rang out above their heads, shaking their souls so much that they almost collapsed. The upper echelons of the Ling Tian Palace turned pale with fright. At this time, high up in the sky, two figures were moving at high speed. Violent energy fluctuations descended from the sky. That pressure landed on the upper echelons of Ling Tian Palace, causing them to almost be unable to straighten their backs. So powerful! Is this the power of surpassing the Emperor realm? The upper echelons of the Ling Tian Palace were shocked. The Ling Tian Palace Master was still as mysterious as ever. Her body was still shrouded in a layer of divine light. But Gu Fei still couldn't see through the Ling Tian Palace Master's appearance. This caused Gu Fei to be shocked. His cultivation had recovered to the Eternal Realm. The Eternal Realm was the legendary Transcendent Emperor Realm in the Void Realm. Gu Fei realized that he had underestimated the Ling Tian Palace Master. One punch to break the limit! Gu Fei immediately threw out his strongest punch. This punch shook the entire sky and earth. Gu Fei's fist energy instantly soared to the limit, and then broke through it. Breaking the limit meant breaking through the limit. This is interesting. The Ling Tian Palace Master smiled. Gu Fei's progress was really great. But in her eyes, it was still not enough. Just as the Ling Tian Palace Master was speaking, a shield condensed in front of her. Gu Fei's ferocious punch landed heavily on the shield. This shield was formed by the Ling Tian Palace Master using the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. This kind of transformation technique was very common. Even God Realm cultivators could do it. However, when the shape-shifting technique was used by Palace Master Ling Tian, it was different. Gu Fei's punch, which was powerful enough to shatter a divine mountain, landed on the shield in front of Ling Tian Palace Master. However, it felt as if it had landed on a ball of cotton, making her feel as if she had not exerted any strength. Gu Fei was shocked. The Ling Tian Palace Master wanted to use such a simple battle technique to neutralize his fist energy? Roar! Gu Fei roared and shook his right fist. An even stronger fist energy exploded from his fist. You're still holding back? The Ling Tian Palace Master could not help but be surprised when she saw this. This guy really exceeded her expectations. As Gu Fei's fist energy exploded, the shield in front of the Ling Tian Palace Master dispersed. In the next moment, Gu Fei's fist landed on the Ling Tian Palace Master's protective light. Gu Fei only felt a warm sensation coming from his right fist. His fist was actually blocked by his opponent's hand, and the force behind his punch was instantly dissipated by his opponent's hand. Afterwards, a great force came from the hand. The force directly pushed Gu Fei away. He could not help but take 6 or 7 steps back. You're an infinite prime? Gu Fei no longer had any doubts. The Ling Tian Palace Master was actually an infinite prime. You know about infinite primes too? Did you come down from above as well? The Ling Tian Palace Master's voice rang out. What did you say? You're from the infinite realm? With Gu Fei's intelligence, he immediately knew where this Palace Master Ling Tian came from. He was truly shocked. This little girl actually came from the limitless realm. The unbounded realm. That was the highest level world that Gu Fei knew of. Little guy, so you're an imposter? The Ling Tian Palace Master smiled. What did you say? Gu Fei said angrily. Haha, I know. Something went wrong with your ascension. The Ling Tian Palace Master also immediately guessed why Gu Fei came to the Void Realm. Why? Do you know how to leave this damn place? Gu Fei asked. Although he looked calm on the surface, he was extremely nervous in his heart. I know. You came to me to ask about these things, right? The Ling Tian Palace Master guessed correctly again. Gu Fei really could not accept it. How can I leave here? Gu Fei really could not sit still. Even his voice was trembling. The Ling Tian Palace Master was silent. After a while, she said, "There's no way. Even I can't enter that place. It's over." Gu Fei was directly dumbfounded. "Don't be so pessimistic. I can't do it alone. But with you, we might succeed." The Ling Tian Palace Master continued. "You." Gu Fei was almost driven crazy by the Ling Tian Palace Master. Chapter 50-35. When Gu Fei came to Ling Tian Palace, everyone in Ling Tian Palace was shocked. Everyone knew how powerful Master Gu was. He was someone who could wrestle with Ling Tian Palace Master. Ling Tian Palace Master was recognized as the strongest person in the world. In fact, the Ling Tian Palace was able to stand above the five forces largely because of the Ling Tian Palace's Palace Master. Of course, Ling Tian Palace Master had been famous for countless years. The entire Void Realm was her legend. However, she had not fought for a long time. As time passed, people began to doubt Ling Tian Palace Master's combat strength. Hence, 1,000 years ago, the five royal lords paid a visit to Ling Tian Palace at the same time. Back then, this matter shook the world. The five royal lords paid a visit to Ling Tian Palace. In fact, everyone knew their goal. They wanted to test Ling Tian Palace's strength. They wanted to see if the legendary Ling Tian Palace Master was truly invincible. In the end, the five royal lords were thrown out of Ling Tian Palace by Ling Tian Palace Master. They all scurried away. Those who witnessed this scene outside Ling Tian Palace were dumbfounded. From then on, no one dared to challenge Ling Tian Palace in the past 1,000 years. Until Gu Fei appeared out of nowhere. He swept through everything without a single defeat. He even killed one of the five royal lords, Barbarian Sovereign. However, the most shocking thing was that Gu Fei dared to fight with Ling Tian Palace Master. It seemed like even Ling Tian Palace Master could not do anything to him. In this way, how would Gu Fei's enemies dare to seek revenge from him? At this moment, Gu Fei was fighting with the Ling Tian Palace Master outside the 9 heavens. He had finally tested out the true strength of the Ling Tian Palace Master. Ling Tian Palace Master was definitely an infinite rank existence. The center of this world might be a super teleportation formation. When Palace Master Ling Tian said those words, Gu Fei was given quite a fright. "A transrealm teleportation formation?" Gu Fei exclaimed. "Are you interested in taking a look?" Ling Tian Palace Master smiled. "Of course," Gu Fei said impatiently. "But your current cultivation is not enough. You should go back and practice." Palace Master Ling Tian shook his head. "What, you dare to look down on me? Do you want to fight again?" Gu Fei glared at Ling Tian Palace Master and said, "You don't even have a suitable Dao artifact. How are you going to challenge the array with me? Do you think that place is so easy to enter?" Palace Lord Ling Tian said disapprovingly. Gu Fei was speechless. Even Palace Master Ling Tian was fearful of that place. It seemed that it was truly extraordinary. Could it be that he really had to forge a Dao artifact first? "Do you have divine materials? Give me some." Gu Fei suddenly laughed. "Scram!" Palace Master Ling Tian waved his sleeves and Gu Fei disappeared in an instant as though he was riding on a cloud. Ling Tian Palace Master's lass, just you wait. The higher-ups of the towering Heaven Palace were dumbfounded when they saw Gu Fei descend from the sky and land in front of the mountain gate of the towering Heaven Palace. Gu Fei directly fell from the 9 heavens like a meteor. Boom! With a loud sound, he directly smashed into the ground. Rumble! The entire earth was shaking, and a circle of dust that was hundreds of feet high swept out in all directions. Wherever it passed, trees were directly swept away, and mountains were instantly shattered. In the mountains, countless living beings suffered. Fortunately, this was a desolate forest with few people. Otherwise, many people would have died. What's going on? Could it be a meteorite falling from the sky? A dozen silhouettes appeared on top of a mountain in the mountain range. All of them looked into the distance in fear. A huge wave of dust was rapidly approaching them. They could all feel the vibration coming from under their feet. However, the yellow dust gradually weakened and stopped when it was still a dozen miles away from the mountain where the group of people were. By now, everything within a radius of 100 miles had been destroyed. A gigantic crater had appeared on the ground, and a figure was climbing out of the crater with much difficulty. Ling Tian Palace lass, you win. Gu Fei pointed his middle finger at the sky. Now Gu Fei was in a sorry state. An unbounded realm monster was indeed powerful. However, Ling Tian Palace Master could not do anything to him because he had a true unbounded realm martial body. Soon many figures appeared around the crater. Where is this? Gu Fei stumbled out of the room. There's someone here. Someone exclaimed. In the next moment, 3 figures stood in front of Gu Fei. Fellow Taoist, are you all right? A young man in green clothes said as he looked at Gu Fei with vigilance. Do I look all right to you? Gu Fei said gloomily. His clothes were tattered and his face was covered in dust. He was in a sorry state, but he was not injured. Fellow Taoist, you're really lucky. Another young man looked at Gu Fei in shock. To be able to survive the impact of the meteorite, I'm afraid your cultivation is not low either. The 3 young cultivators were in disbelief. Do you know where I can take a bath and change my clothes? Gu Fei asked. At this moment, he was depressed to find that his cultivation had been sealed by Ling Tian Palace Master. Of course, it would not be sealed for long. If you don't mind, then come with us. The young cultivator in the lead turned around and walked forward. Gu Fei followed without hesitation. Through the conversation, he found out where these 3 guys came from. They were disciples from the nearby Sky Star sect. They came here to investigate but met Gu Fei. The Sky Star sect was just a small sect. In this remote place, those big forces would naturally look down on them. However, those small sects could establish their forces here. Soon, the 3 disciples from the Sky Star sect brought Gu Fei back to the sect. Gu Fei took a bath and changed into a clean set of clothes. When he came out, the 3 disciples from the Sky Star sect were already roasting the thigh of an unknown beast on a bonfire under a big tree. A meaty aroma wafted into Gu Fei's nose. Brother Gu, this is the thigh of the golden bear that junior sister hunted. It's almost done. Come and have a taste. Feng Chen from the Sky Star sect called out when he saw Gu Fei coming out. Rumble. When Gu Fei smelled the meaty aroma, his stomach immediately started to rumble. Ha, all right. Gu Fei did not stand on ceremony and walked over with a smile. When he came to the bonfire, Gu Fei sat down and flipped his right hand. A jar of wine appeared in his hand. You have a storage Dao artifact? Feng Chen was taken aback. Hee. Gu Fei smiled and did not say anything. How can there be meat without wine? As Gu Fei spoke, he removed the clay seal, and a sweet and mellow wine fragrance immediately spread out from the wine jar. Feng Chen and the rest swallowed their saliva when they smelled the wine. Chapter 50-36. Gu Fei learned from the Sky Star sect's disciple, Feng Chen, that this was the Middle Sky domain, and the Sky Star sect was just a small sect in the Meteorite Mountain Range. Legend had it that the Meteorite Mountain Range was formed by a meteorite that fell here. There were meteorites here, so the various sects in Middle Sky used to mine here. Meteorite iron mines could be seen everywhere here. However, 1,000 years ago, the meteorite iron mines here were all dug out, so the various sects in Middle Sky naturally withdrew. After the major forces retreated, all the meteorite iron mines were abandoned. Then, the Meteorite Mountain Range was occupied by countless small sections. The abandoned mines that the various sects in Middle Sky looked down upon were delicious cakes in the eyes of these small sections. The Sky Star sect was also one of the countless small sects in the Meteorite Mountain Range. Moreover, the Sky Star sect controlled a total of 3 mines, and they were all considered good mines among the abandoned mines. Gu Fei had just arrived at the Sky Star sect and was about to eat and drink with Feng Chen and the others, but at this moment, a battle cry came from outside the mountain gate of the Sky Star sect. He saw black figures rushing into the mountain gate of the Sky Star sect, and these black figures killed their way into the Sky Star sect. Obviously, these people took advantage of the dark night to launch a surprise attack on the Sky Star sect. The Sky Star sect was caught unprepared and retreated in defeat. Soon, the group of black figures had already killed their way to the waist of the mountain. At the top of the mountain, many members of the Sky Star sect appeared. Under the leadership of the Sky Star sect's leader, the members of the Sky Star sect killed their way down the mountain. Wang Tianxing, come out and die! A loud shout reverberated through the mountains, and a black shadow suddenly soared into the sky, charging toward the heavenly starry sect master who was rushing down from the mountain peak. Suzhen, it's you? The leader of the Sky Star sect, Wang Tianxing, was shocked and angry when she saw that person. The person who came was Suzhen of the Sky Shaking sect. This guy actually dared to bring people to sneak attack me. Damn it. Kill! Suzhen directly punched towards Wang Tianxing below. All of you, get out of the way! Wang Tianxing roared. In the next moment, she also punched upwards, and the strong fist force went against the sky. Boom! With a loud bang, the two fist forces collided, and the entire mountain seemed to shake. The people around Wang Tianxing, who could not dodge in time, were directly sent flying by the explosion of power. Divine Realm! Gu Fei was speechless when he saw this scene. Since when could a God-state cultivator establish a sect? These bastards from the heaven-shaking sect. Feng Chun and the others were shocked and angry at the same time. They grabbed their weapons and rushed down the mountain. Gu Fei still didn't move. He had just opened a jar of good wine. Feng Chun and the other two guys had gone to fight with the people from the Shaking Heaven sect. There was good wine and good meat here. If he didn't eat it, it would be too much of a waste. Gu Fei sat beside the bonfire, then took out a small knife, cut a piece of roasted beast meat, and threw it into his mouth. Not bad, not bad! Gu Fei took a bite. The roasted meat was very tender, and juice flowed from the corner of his mouth. After eating a few mouthfuls of meat, Gu Fei grabbed the jar of wine and drank a big mouthful. At this time, the people from the Sky Star sect and the Heaven Shaking sect had already started fighting. Suddenly, there was a flash of sword light, and blood splattered everywhere. People kept falling. The smell of blood permeated the air. Hey, senior brother, there's a fool here! At this time, 3 black figures suddenly rushed out of the forest. The leader of the 3 black figures was a young man in black with a long sword in his hand. Everyone else is fighting and fighting, but he is here drinking wine and eating meat? The other cultivator looked around vigilantly. Kill! The leader of the group slashed his sword at Gu Fei, who was sitting beside the bonfire. When the sword light was about to fall on Gu Fei's head, Gu Fei stretched out his right hand and used his index and middle fingers to catch the sword light. What? When the black-clothed young man saw this, he was really shocked. This guy actually used 2 fingers to clamp his sword? One had to know that the speed of a slash was not slow. To be able to catch a fast-moving sword was not an easy task. The 2 cultivators beside the young man in black were also shocked by this scene. The black-clothed youth wanted to pull back his sword, but it was as if his sword was a part of Gu Fei's hand. Even if he used all his strength, the sword still wouldn't budge. Who are you? The young man in black was sweating profusely, and his voice was trembling. Gu Fei did not care about this guy. He grabbed the jar of wine beside him and took another big mouthful. You are not from the Sky Star sect, right? Could it be that you are an expert invited by the Sky Star sect? The young man in black grabbed the hilt of his sword with his right hand, but his left hand could not help but wipe the cold sweat. The Sky Star sect is not qualified to invite me, Gu Fei said indifferently. When the young man in black heard this, his expression changed drastically. This time, he was afraid that he had really kicked an iron plate. Since you are not from the Sky Star sect, it is just a misunderstanding between us. We will leave now, the young man in black said as he let go of the sword in his hand. He did not even want the sword and turned to leave. His 2 junior brothers wished that they could just run away. Scram! Gu Fei said as he waved his right hand. The sword that he had caught was inserted into the ground in front of the young man in black. The entire sword was inserted into the ground. The young man in black did not dare to stay there any longer. He immediately rushed into the forest and escaped down the mountain. How dare the three of you escape in the face of danger? Damn it! A loud shout was heard. In the next moment, a cold light flashed in the forest and a few screams were heard. The three disciples from the heaven-shaking sect were immediately given a box of food. Young man, can you buy me a drink? A tall and fierce-looking middle-aged man with 2 axes walked out of the forest. Divine state? Gu Fei immediately sensed this guy's cultivation. This guy was also a divine state expert. The heaven-shaking sect had produced 2 divine state experts. This might be the reason why the heaven-shaking sect was so confident. You are not qualified to drink with me, Gu Fei said indifferently. He reached out and cut a piece of roasted meat from the grill and threw it into his mouth. What did you say? When the middle-aged man heard this, his eyes instantly shot out 2 rays of cold light. I, the deputy leader of the heaven-shaking sect, Su Ba, am not qualified to drink with you. The middle-aged man roared angrily. He was a hot-tempered person. You are not qualified. Scram! Gu Fei said coldly. How dare you ask me to scram? You are courting death. Su Ba roared and swung his axe at Gu Fei's head. Gu Fei stretched out his right hand again and directly grabbed the giant axe that was chopping down. Su Ba's shock was not to be underestimated. In the next moment, Gu Fei exerted force with his right hand and Su Ba's giant axe was cut into pieces. How is this possible? Chapter 50-37. The moon was dark and the wind was strong. The people of the heaven-shaking sect took advantage of the night to attack the Sky Star sect. A great battle between the heaven-shaking sect and the Sky Star sect broke out. Both sides started a fierce battle in the mountain gate of the Sky Star sect. All of this was for the mine. The meteorite mountain range had nothing else but abandoned meteorite iron mines everywhere. Of course, these mineral veins had almost been completely exploited by the major forces of the Central Prefecture. However, the abandoned mineral veins that the major forces of the Central Prefecture looked down upon had become delicious cakes in the eyes of the small sects like the Heavenly Stars sect and the Heaven-Shaking sect. The meteorite iron contained in these ores was very low. It took a lot of time and effort to refine the meteorite iron. In the eyes of the major forces, it was not worth spending so much manpower and resources to refine iron. However, these small forces were different. The meteorite iron was a rare thing. If they could refine it, it would be a profit for them. The Heaven-Shaking sect had been eyeing the 3 mines of the Sky Star sect for a long time. Until tonight, they finally could not help but attack the Sky Star sect. At this time, halfway up the mountain, the leader of the Sky Star sect, Wang Tianqing, and the leader of the Heaven-Shaking sect, Su Jin, were fighting endlessly. Powerful divine state power erupted, causing the surrounding sand and stones to fly. The others did not dare to go near at all. After all, this was a battle between divine state experts. Ordinary people could not withstand it at all. Whether it was the people of the Sky Star sect or the Heaven-Shaking sect, once they were affected by this level of battle, they would die immediately. The strength of the Sky Star sect and the Heaven-Shaking sect was actually not much different. It was not easy for these 2 forces to determine a winner. At this time, Gu Fei wanted to eat some meat and drink some wine, but he was disturbed. The deputy leader of the Heaven-Shaking sect, Su Jin, was really unlucky. He actually encountered Gu Fei. Then, this guy was unlucky. He had no choice but to be unlucky. Su Ba was dumbfounded as he watched his giant axe being crushed by Gu Fei with his bare hands. This guy could not be arrogant anymore. Not only could he not be arrogant, but he was also so scared that he almost peed his pants. Who is this guy? He actually crushed a divine tool with his bare hands. This is a divine tool that I obtained with great difficulty, but it was actually crushed. Who the hell are you? Even Su Jin's voice was trembling. He was truly frightened. You don't have the right to know who I am. If you want to live, cut your flesh and pour me some wine, Gu Fei said indifferently. Yes, yes, yes. Su Ba hurried over. He took out a small knife and carefully cut off the roasted meat on the grill piece by piece. He took out a small plate out of nowhere and placed the meat on the plate, then carefully placed it in front of Gu Fei. Gu Fei used the knife in his hand to pick up the roasted meat on the plate and threw it into his mouth. At this time, Su Jin's forehead was covered with beads of sweat. He was extremely nervous. If Gu Fei was unhappy, he would be finished. If others were to see the deputy sect master of the heaven-shaking sect serving Gu Fei like a servant, they would probably be so shocked that their eyeballs would fall off. While Su Ba was serving Gu Fei wine and meat, the people from the Heavenly Star sect and the heaven-shaking sect were still locked in a fierce battle. Su Ba, you bastard! Where the hell are you? The sect master of the heaven-shaking sect, Su Jin, was both shocked and angry. What is this guy doing? The reason why the heaven-shaking sect dared to attack the Heavenly Star sect was because the deputy sect master, Su Ba, had finally reached the godly state. The heaven-shaking sect had 2 godly state experts, which was why they were so confident. As for the Heavenly Star sect, only the sect master, Wang Tianqing, was at the godly state. Su Jin could fight Wang Tianqing to a draw. If Su Ba, who was at the godly state, joined forces, they would be able to kill Wang Tianqing and destroy the Heavenly Star sect. The 3 minds of the Heavenly Star sect would then belong to the heaven-shaking sect. However, Su Jin would never have imagined that Su Ba was currently waiting on Gu Fei at an inconspicuous place within the Sky Star sect's mountain gate, drinking wine and eating meat. Deputy Sect Master, the Sect Master is looking for you. At that moment, a few members of the heaven-shaking sect finally found Su Ba. However, in the next moment, they were stunned by the scene before them. What's going on? What did I see? The deputy sect master actually. The members of the heaven-shaking sect were immediately dumbfounded. The vice sect master was actually acting like a servant, carefully pouring wine for a black-clothed youth. Then, he carefully cut off the roasted meat on the grill and carefully placed a small plate in front of the black-clothed youth. The few people from the heaven-shaking sect were completely dumbfounded. It couldn't be helped. The scene before them was too unbelievable for the people of the heaven-shaking sect. All of you, get lost! Su Ba shouted at the people from the heaven-shaking sect. The people from the heaven-shaking sect were really shocked. Why are you still here? Su Ba's eyes were filled with ferocity, as if he was going to kill these people. Yes, 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 we will get lost immediately! All the disciples from the heaven-shaking sect knew that the deputy sect master had a fiery temper. If they angered him, they would end up in a miserable state. The few disciples from the heaven-shaking sect were so scared that they scrambled and ran away. Su Ba, you bastard! Soon, Su Jin's voice came down from the mountain. It seemed that those people had bought him out, which made Su Ba very unhappy. At this moment, the battle between the 2 Divine Realm experts was gradually moving towards where Gu Fei was. Sigh. I want to drink some wine and eat some meat in peace, but I can't. Gu Fei sighed helplessly. Su Ba, on the other hand, was shocked. Su Ba, what the hell are you doing? Su Jin came and saw Su Ba standing next to a young man in black like a servant. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Haha. When did the deputy sect master of the heaven-shaking sect become the servant of a little kid? Wang Tianqing laughed heartily when he saw this scene. Be my servant? He is not qualified. Gu Fei said indifferently. How arrogant. Do you think you are an invincible emperor? Wang Tianqing sneered. Why are you guys not fighting? Gu Fei said. These people actually stopped. Su Ba, come over here. Su Jin roared at Su Ba. Big brother. Su Ba was extremely anxious. Once they angered this deity, they would definitely not be able to bear the consequences. Their lives could be taken by this guy at any time. You bastard, you don't even listen to me anymore? Su Jin really wanted to beat Su Ba up. No, big brother. Su Ba kept winking at Su Jin, his forehead full of sweat. However, Su Jin did not know what his brother was doing. Was he afraid of this young man in black? Who are you? Chapter 5038. You don't have the right to know who I am, Gu Fei said calmly. The deputy sect leader of the Shaking Sky sect, the hot-tempered Su Ba, was now as docile as a kitten, carefully serving the young man in black. This scene stunned Su Jin, the sect leader of the Shaking Sky sect, and Wang Tianxing, the sect leader of the Sky Star sect, as well. This guy was Su Ba. Su Ba was quite famous in the Falling Star mountain range because he was vicious, merciless, and incomparably violent. He would start a fight at the slightest disagreement. It was unknown how many people had died to his pair of giant axes. You said that I don't have the right to know who you are? Wang Tianxing was almost driven mad by Gu Fei's words. Do you know who I am? Wang Tianxing glared at Gu Fei and said, I don't care who you are. Get lost now, or else I will throw you down the mountain, Gu Fei said disapprovingly. You! Wang Tianxing was shocked and angry, but he did not leave, nor did he make a move. Second brother, come back now. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Su Jin roared at Su Ba. Big brother this? Su Ba was shocked and scared. He looked at Gu Fei carefully. Continue, Gu Fei said calmly. Yes. Su Ba quickly cut another plate of barbecued meat and brought it to Gu Fei. At this moment, the people of the Sky Star sect and the Sky Shaking sect rushed towards the two sect leaders. While the two sect masters were facing off against each other, there was a bonfire between them, barbecuing meat. A black-clad youngster was leisurely enjoying the service of Heavenly Quake sect's vice sect master, Su Ba. Su Ba was holding a small plate respectfully. The young man in black was using a small knife to pick up the barbecued meat and was eating it with relish. The aroma of meat and wine filled the air. The stomachs of the disciples of the Sky Star sect and the Sky Shaking sect were growling. This was especially so for the disciples of the Heaven Shaking sect. They were so shocked that their jaws almost dropped to the ground. When did the usually overbearing and arrogant vice sect leader Su Ba change? The tall and ferocious-looking Su Ba, who had a full beard, looked very fierce. Even if he did not attack, just by standing there, he would be able to frighten many people. But now, Su Ba was like a servant trying to please his master. He was nodding and bowing in front of the black-clothed young man like a slave. Fellow Taoist Gu! At this time, the Heavenly Star sect's disciple, Fengchen, walked out from the crowd. When he saw this scene, he was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell to the ground. Come! The meat test is done, and the wine has been unsealed. Come, drink and eat. Why are you fighting? Gu Fei said to Fengchen. When Fengchen heard this, he was dumbfounded. The Heavenly Star sect was about to be annihilated. How could he still be in the mood to eat and drink? The others were also speechless. I don't care who you are. This is a grudge between my Heavenly Star sect and the Heaven Shaking sect. I hope you won't interfere. Kill them! The Heavenly Star sect's leader, Wang Tianxing, shouted. With a wave of his right hand, the Heavenly Star sect's cultivators behind him immediately charged towards the people of the Heaven Shaking sect. Kill! The Heaven Shaking sect's leader, Su Jin, also shouted. He led his disciples and charged towards the Heavenly Star sect's leader. Sigh! Gu Fei sighed. In the next moment, he put down the knife in his right hand and snapped his fingers. Bam! Bam! Two dull sounds were heard. In the next moment, the two sect leaders, Wang Tianxing and Su Jin, slammed into an invisible wall. Their entire bodies were lying in the void, and then they slid to the ground. Neither of these two fellows expected that there was actually an invisible layer between them. When they bumped into it, their heads immediately started bleeding. The people on both sides could not stop their momentum. Many of them slammed into the wall, in the void. Some had their noses broken, while others had their front teeth knocked out. Someone had a huge bump on his forehead. Even Wang Tianxing and Su Jin cried out in pain. Be it the people from the Heavenly Star sect or the Heaven Shaking sect, they were all dumbfounded. Seeing this scene, Su Ba, the deputy sect leader of the Heaven Shaking sect, was so shocked that his hand trembled. The plate in his hand fell to the ground and shattered. I told you to scram, so scram. I don't mind sending anyone else to hell, Gu Fei said calmly. What? Wang Tianqing and Su Jin were shocked. This guy. Both of them were shocked to the extreme. Just what was the background of this black-clothed youth? He actually stopped a great battle between them with a casual sound of his whistle? Say, Senior, please forgive us for offending you. Su Jin finally understood why his second brother was so respectful to this young man in black. It turned out that this inconspicuous young man was actually a super expert. Senior, we failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please don't take offense. Wang Tianqing could not help but lower his head. His forehead was full of sweat. Scram! Gu Fei roared. Yes, yes, yes! The two of them hurriedly led their disciples away. Wait! The two of them stopped in their tracks and turned to look at Gu Fei in fear. Could it be that this senior had changed his mind? Then they were dead meat. The two of them were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. Do you have some treasure here? Gu Fei said in a low voice. What, treasure? Wang Tianqing and Su Jin looked at each other. Their eyes flickered. Don't try to lie to me. Otherwise, you will suffer. Gu Fei grabbed the wine jar beside him and took a big gulp. Actually, when he arrived at the Heavenly Star Sect, he felt that the aura of the mountain where the Heavenly Star Sect was located was not right. This aura was very obscure. Even a divine king would not be able to sense it. However, Gu Fei was not a divine king. He was a legendary transcendent emperor in the Void Realm. This? Su Jin hesitated. Senior, this is only a legend. No peerless spiritual treasure has ever appeared here, Wang Tianqing said carefully. Legend has it that there is a peerless spiritual treasure here? Gu Fei's eyes lit up. Wasn't he looking for divine materials to forge a weapon? If he could obtain the peerless spiritual treasure here, wouldn't he have the materials to forge a weapon? Tell me in detail, Gu Fei said calmly. According to Wang Tianqing, in ancient times, a meteorite fell from the sky. The meteorite landed on the Meteorite Mountain Range. The entire Meteorite Mountain Range was formed from the meteorite that fell from the sky. Legend had it that a nine-heaven spiritual treasure fell along with the meteorite. At that time, countless experts from the 5 regions gathered to search for that peerless spiritual treasure. However, countless years had passed. No one had seen any peerless spiritual treasure. There were only legends about it. Interesting. Chapter 5039. The Meteorite Mountain Range was a barren land. Originally, it had some value. Because of the meteorite iron, it had attracted the attention of the major factions in Zhongtian. However, as the meteorite iron in the Meteorite Mountain Range was mined, it became a place abandoned by the major factions. However, to the small factions, the waste ores were the capital to survive. The major factions in Zhongtian looked down on the waste ores. However, the waste ores also contained meteorite iron. Of course, the amount of meteorite iron in the waste ores was very low. Wanting to refine the meteoric iron from these waste ores was a very time-consuming process, and the various large powers of Center Sky would not do such a laborious thing without any benefits. Hence, ever since the major factions in Zhongtian retreated from the Meteorite Mountain Range, it became a paradise for the small factions. There were at least a dozen small factions like the Sky Star Sect and the Heaven Shaking Sect in the Meteorite Mountain Range. The Sky Star Sect and the Heaven Shaking Sect were not the strongest factions. In the Meteorite Mountain Range, the strongest faction was the Star Sect. At this time, the Mountain Gate of Starlight Sect was ablaze, but the mountain was terrifyingly quiet. Everyone gathered in an inconspicuous place in the Mountain Gate. The two big sects, which were like fire and water, actually did not fight anymore. The leaders of the two factions were so scared by a young man in black that their faces turned pale. They trembled and almost knelt down. All right, all of you scram. Fengchen, you stay. You scram too, Gu Fei said to Su Ba. Yes, yes, yes. I will scram immediately. Hearing this, Su Ba was overjoyed. After bowing to Gu Fei, he immediately turned around and dashed out of the Sky Star sect. The others quickly retreated as well. They were all afraid of angering the mysterious and powerful young man in black. Even in Feng Chen's wildest dreams, he would have never imagined that the battered youth he met in the Meteorite Mountain range was actually a peerless expert. Even his sect master, Wang Tianqing, was trembling with fear in front of this youth. As such, Feng Chen and the others were not as open in front of Gu Fei. They were very reserved and spoke very carefully. This made Gu Fei feel a little helpless. Getting to know each other is also fate. These are for you. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Gu Fei threw a small jade bottle to Feng Chen and the others. Then, he soared into the sky and disappeared into the night. After seeing that Gu Fei had left, Feng Chen uncorked the bottle and a fragrant aroma immediately filled the air. Pills? Feng Chen was shocked. This medicinal pill was actually an incomparably precious soul-shaping pill. Soul-shaping pill. It was something that countless cultivators in the Falling Star Mountain range yearned for even in their dreams. After eating this divine transformation pill, they would have the opportunity to reach the God realm. That was the divine realm, an existence at the level of the sect master. In the Meteorite Mountain range, a divine realm expert was an absolute master. He was an existence that could do whatever he wanted. Feng Chen and the others were extremely excited. Gu Fei had only given them 3 elixirs. Each of them carefully put away one. I originally wanted to exterminate the Heavenly Star sect, but who would have thought that I would meet such a monster? At this moment, the sect master of the Heavenly Shaking sect led his group of subordinates back to his sect unwillingly. All his plans were ruined by the sudden appearance of a black-robed young man. Big brother, are you trying to get us killed? Su Ba looked around in fear. If those words were heard by that pervert, they would be finished. You coward! Su Jin was really speechless. He never thought that his usually hot-tempered and overbearing younger brother would be so frightened by a black-robed young man. Big brother, you are not a coward. You are awesome. All right. Su Ba scolded. After leaving Gu Fei, he immediately regained his usual temperament. You still dare to talk back? Su Jin stretched out his hand and slapped the back of this guy's head. Big brother. Su Ba stared at his big brother angrily. Why did he bow and scrape in front of Gu Fei? If he angered that malefic person, they would probably be dead by now. What is the background of that person? Su Jin's expression was extremely solemn. That person was really too strong. With a snap of his fingers, he had stopped their battle with the Sky Star sect. It was really too terrifying. You asked me? Who should I ask? Su Ba said angrily. Hurry up and leave. I don't want to come back here for the rest of my life. Su Ba did not wait for Su Jin to speak. He directly soared into the sky and disappeared under the night sky. Su Jin was speechless. It seemed like this fearless second brother of his had really been scared out of his wits by that mysterious young man. Actually, the people from the Sky Star sect were the same. Wang Tianqing brought his people back to the sect's main hall at the peak of the Sky Star sect. Wang Tianqing sat on the throne in the middle of the main hall. The main hall was filled with the upper echelons of the Sky Star sect. Who can tell me what exactly happened? Wang Tianqing swept his gaze across the people in the main hall. His expression was extremely ugly. He had never been in such a sorry state before. There was even a huge bump on his forehead. No one in the main hall dared to make a sound. Who knew where that black-robed young man had come from? A bunch of good-for-nothings, Wang Tianqing said angrily. A powerful pressure immediately erupted from his body. The people in the main hall instantly trembled in fear. At this moment, Gu Fei had already arrived high up in the sky. He sat cross-legged in the void and carefully sensed the aura of this part of the world. It can actually leave! Gu Fei was a little surprised. This was because he sensed that the obscure aura had actually changed its position and was no longer in its original position. Could it be that the spiritual treasure has already developed intelligence? When Gu Fei thought of this, he was a little surprised. A spiritual treasure that could develop intelligence would definitely not be weak. However, it was a little difficult to deal with now. This was because his cultivation had been sealed by the girl from the Ling Tian Palace. It would take a few days to completely remove the seal. Gu Fei also knew that the girl from the Ling Tian Palace had sealed his cultivation just to disgust him. "I'll let you stay here for a few more days." After sensing for a while, Gu Fei directly flew towards the place where the spiritual energy in the meteorite mountain range was gathered. The spiritual energy in the meteorite mountain range was too thin. There were only 2 or 3 places with barely enough spiritual energy. Of course, in Gu Fei's eyes, these places were also trash. Soon, he saw a towering mountain in front of him. The mountain was shrouded in mist, and it looked rather celestial. When he got closer, the scenery here was also not bad. This was actually a stronghold set up by a large sect in the meteorite mountain range. Of course, the people from that large sect had already evacuated. Then, this place was occupied by a sect called the Star Sect. The people from the Star Sect had never expected that their sect had already been targeted by a malefic existence. Chapter 50-40. The Star Sect was the strongest sect in the meteorite mountain range. The other forces were like little brothers in front of the Star Sect. Almost half of the mines in the meteorite mountain range were controlled by the Star Sect. Moreover, the Star Sect's mines were also the best mines in the meteorite mountain range. It was very peaceful on Star Mountain. There were pavilions on the mountain, and people could be seen walking on the mountain path from time to time. At the foot of the mountain was the entrance to Star Mountain. There was a tall decorated archway here, and it was the only way to go up the mountain. Everyone who came to visit the mountain would enter the mountain from here. However, there were some people who did not take the usual path, and Gu Fei was one of them. However, taking the unusual path would often lead to bad luck. Gu Fei flew in the air, admiring the surrounding scenery along the way. Just as he was about to reach the mountain that he had his eyes on, he suddenly collided with an invisible force field in the void with a bang. F***CK! Gu Fei's entire body was stuck to the force field, and he slid down to the ground. If that girl from Ling Tian Palace saw this, she would definitely laugh until her stomach hurt. The arrogant Gu Fei actually had such a pathetic moment. I was careless. Gu Fei was extremely depressed. He did not expect that there would be a formation here at all. How could there be a mountain-protecting formation in this godforsaken place? He slid down from the sky and fell to the ground. He did not want to move at all. Who the F***CK has nothing better to do and came all the way here to set up a formation? Gu Fei was speechless. Who would lay down such a huge formation to envelop the entire mountain in such a desolate place? This was an extravagant effort, and not something an ordinary person could do. Ha ha! Suddenly, a burst of laughter that sounded like silver bells was heard. Gu Fei smelled a fragrant breeze and a purple-clothed woman appeared beside him. She was holding her belly and laughing. What are you laughing at? Have you never seen a handsome man before? Gu Fei shook his head and flung his messy hair to the back of his head. Then, he stood up unhurriedly and sized up the woman in purple. You're a handsome man? Stop teasing me. The purple-clothed woman crossed her arms and looked at him in disdain. Who are you? It's not safe for a little girl to walk around alone. Didn't your parents teach you? Gu Fei curled his lips. Who am I? I won't tell you. Yes, it's not safe in the mountains, but for me, the Stellar Mountain is the safest place. The purple-clothed woman said proudly. She wasn't that old, and her face was covered, revealing a pair of large jet-black eyes that were filled with intelligence. At first glance, Gu Fei knew that this girl was a mischievous person, just like his newly accepted disciple, Princess Xiaozhou of the West Sea Dragon clan. Moreover, to Gu Fei's surprise, this purple-clothed girl turned out to be a Divine Realm expert. Such a young Divine Realm expert was very rare in the meteorite mountain range. The heaven and earth ling qi here was simply too thin, far thinner than the heaven and earth ling qi in the other regions of Middle Sky. Everyone knew that cultivators needed to absorb and refine the heaven and earth ling qi in order to cultivate. Where the heaven and earth ling qi was thin, there wouldn't be any powerful creatures at all. Oh, I didn't know that you've actually cultivated to the divine realm. Gu Fei looked at the purple-clothed woman from head to toe. What did you call me? Little girl? The purple-clothed woman was instantly annoyed. She put her hands on her waist and stared at Gu Fei fiercely. Isn't that so? You're just a silly little girl, Gu Fei said disdainfully. You! The purple-clothed woman was even more furious. All right, ask your parents to come out and talk to me. I want to go into the mountain, Gu Fei said impatiently. You want to go into the mountain? The purple-clothed woman's big eyes immediately revealed a sly look when she heard this. I've observed the entire meteorite mountain range, and the spirit chi here is not bad, so I want to cultivate here for a few days, Gu Fei said seriously. Haha, this is too funny! The purple-clothed woman laughed out loud. Is it really that funny? Gu Fei was speechless. Do you know what this place is? The purple-clothed woman laughed for a while before stopping and saying, What place? Gu Fei asked curiously. Prick up your ears and listen carefully. This is Star Mountain, the place where the Star Sect is located. The Star Sect is the strongest sect in the entire meteorite mountain range. The purple-clothed woman stared at Gu Fei and said seriously. If others knew that the purple-clothed woman dared to say such words to Gu Fei, their jaws would definitely drop. Gu Fei was the #1 god of killing in Nannan. Even the barbaric emperor died in his hands. He was also the only person in the entire Void Realm who dared to fight with the Ling Tian Palace Master, and was not killed by him. In the eyes of the powerhouses in Nanman and the high and mighty upper echelons of Ling Tian Palace, Gu Fei was simply amazing. Star Sect? Gu Fei tilted his head and thought about it. Haha, are you afraid now? Are you scared out of your wits? The purple-clothed woman said proudly. Never heard of it, Gu Fei said. The proud purple-clothed woman staggered and almost fell. What? You haven't even heard of the Star Sect? The purple-clothed woman looked at Gu Fei as if he was a monster. Star Sect. There was actually someone in the meteorite mountain range who hadn't heard of the Star Sect? How was that possible? Unless this guy wasn't from the meteorite mountain range. You're not from the meteorite mountain range? The purple-clothed woman exclaimed. You're not that stupid either. Gu Fei gave the purple-clothed woman a thumbs up. Who exactly are you? The purple-clothed woman stared at Gu Fei and said in a deep voice. She could do whatever she wanted in the meteorite mountain range, but she couldn't after leaving the meteorite mountain range. That was because the true rulers of Middle Heaven were the Buddhist ancestor and the Heavenly Clan, followed by the various top forces that were second only to the Buddhist ancestor and the Heavenly Clan. In the eyes of those top forces, the Star Sect was not worth mentioning at all. Who am I? I won't tell you either, Gu Fei said proudly. How dare you? The purple-clothed girl immediately made her move. She threw a punch at Gu Fei, and a ball of dazzling light appeared on her fist. Hee hee! Gu Fei stretched out his right hand and pointed at the purple-clothed young man's fist. What? The purple-clothed girl was shocked. Her opponent had actually blocked her fist with just a single finger? How was that possible? Damn it! The purple-clothed woman retracted her fist. In the next moment, she leaped up from the ground and swept her right foot at Gu Fei's head at lightning speed. Gu Fei raised his right hand and placed his forearm in front of his head. Bam! A dull thud was heard. Gu Fei was as still as a mountain, but the purple-clothed woman hugged her right leg and screamed. It was so painful that tears came out of her eyes. The purple-clothed woman felt as if she had kicked a piece of divine metal, and even her bones seemed to have been diagnosed. I'll stand right here. If you can make me move a step, you can do whatever you want. How about that? Gu Fei said with a smile. What did you say? The purple-clothed woman's eyes lit up. Are you telling the truth? The purple-clothed woman stared at Gu Fei and said, Of course, but what if you lose? Gu Fei said proudly. I'll lose? If I lose, you can do whatever you want to me. The purple-clothed woman gritted her teeth. All right. It's a deal. Chapter 50-41. Gu Fei stood on the ground and allowed the purple-clothed girl to attack. He only used one hand to block all of her attacks. How is this possible? The purple-clothed girl was shocked and furious, and her attacks became even more ferocious. Whirlwind sweeping fallen leaves! The purple-clothed girl twisted her waist and started spinning. In the next moment, her legs swept towards Gu Fei like a gust of wind. It was just a warm-up just now. Now, the purple-clothed girl had no choice but to get serious. A powerful energy fluctuation spread out from the forest. As a result, sand and rocks flew in the forest, and the sun and moon lost their light. Then, it inevitably alarmed the people from Star Sect because this place was not very far from the Star Sect's mountain gate. Soon, many figures appeared around them. These people were all watching from afar. Before they could see the situation clearly, they were all very careful. In the meteorite mountain range, anything could happen. If one offended an existence that they couldn't afford to offend, the outcome would be tragic. Moreover, this was Star Sect's territory. At this moment, the purple-clothed girl's fierce attack was still unable to force Gu Fei to move a single step. Instead, she was panting and sweating profusely. Humph! The purple-clothed girl shouted and leaped back, instantly widening the distance between her and Gu Fei. What's wrong? Come on, let's continue, Gu Fei said proudly as he hooked his finger at the purple-clothed girl. All right, let's continue. The purple-clothed girl suddenly smiled. Then, she actually stopped attacking. Instead, she picked up a large bundle of withered branches and threw them around Gu Fei. What are you trying to do? Gu Fei was displeased. This girl was starting to cause trouble. Anyway, as long as I force you to move your feet, you'll lose, right? The purple-clothed girl smiled. You! Gu Fei pretended to be shocked and angry. Haha! Seeing Gu Fei being defeated, the purple-clothed girl laughed happily. I'll give you a chance. Admit defeat, haha! The purple-clothed girl was very proud. You want me to admit defeat? Dream on! Gu Fei raised his middle finger at the purple-clothed girl. Humph! The purple-clothed girl sneered. She gritted her teeth and ignited the fire. Soon, the raging fire engulfed Gu Fei. Sigh! Just then, a sigh came from the sea of fire. Then, a cold aura burst out from the sea of fire. The raging flames were extinguished in an instant. Moreover, they were completely extinguished. Not even a spark or a wisp of smoke could be seen. That was because the burning firewood had been frozen in an instant. The purple-clothed girl was dumbfounded. All right, I'll be my attendant for a few days, Gu Fei said proudly. How dare you? You want our junior sister to be your follower? Are you courting death? At this moment, a loud shout rang out and a figure descended from the sky. A young man dressed in white landed on the ground and stared at Gu Fei viciously. Why are you here? It's none of your business. The purple-clothed girl was displeased when she saw who it was. Junior sister, what are you talking about? Big senior brother is your fiancé. How can he not care about your business? Another figure descended from the sky and stood behind the young man in white. He then shouted at the purple-clothed girl. Gao Rong, shut up! The purple-clothed girl was even more furious when she saw that person. When Gu Fei saw this, he immediately understood. There must be a story between these people. Could it be that one of them wanted to marry but the other didn't? There was a high chance that Gu Fei would be implicated in this matter. As an outsider, he was destined to be used and treated as a sucker. Hey, lass! What happened between the two of you has nothing to do with me. How about we call off our bet? Gu Fei did not want to care about such trivial matters. Hee hee! The purple-clothed girl suddenly stared at Gu Fei with a sly look in her eyes. When Gu Fei saw the purple-clothed girl's expression, his heart skipped a beat. This girl is going to start causing trouble. What bet? When the young man in white heard that, he immediately looked at Gu Fei. He narrowed his eyes and a glint flickered under his eyelids. He also saw that Gu Fei was actually surrounded by frozen firewood. This made him frown even more. Where did this guy come from? Why is he here? There's no bet. It's just that if I lose, I'll have to marry this guy, the purple-clothed girl said casually. Gu Fei thought to himself, here it comes. This girl is really going to cause trouble. What? When the eldest senior brother heard that, his face immediately darkened. A cold killing intent erupted from his body as he directly wanted to kill Gu Fei. Little junior sister, aren't you messing around? The young man called Gao Rong sneered. You're the star sect's little junior sister. Your every word and action represents the star sect's face. Do you want to go to the back of the mountain to reflect on your mistakes? The eldest senior brother was almost going crazy. Humph. I've already said that I'll make the decision. I'll find my own husband. You want to marry me? And then become the sect master of the star sect? Dream on, the purple-clothed girl said coldly. What's going on? Gu Fei, on the other hand, was confused. Could it be that this little girl was actually the daughter of that star sect's sect master? If this so-called eldest senior brother wanted to become the sect master, then he had to marry the sect master's daughter. This was definitely a shortcut to becoming the next sect master. Hey brat, stop daydreaming. I admit defeat. I'm yours now. Do as you see fit, the purple-clothed girl said to Gu Fei. When Gu Fei heard that, sweat broke out on his forehead. This girl is too despicable. I've never seen someone who attracts hatred like this. Now that she said that, wouldn't that eldest senior brother hate me to death? Sure enough, the two brothers opposite him glared at Gu Fei. If looks could kill, Gu Fei would have died countless times. Why don't you marry your eldest senior brother? Gu Fei said with a smile. What did you say? The purple-clothed girl immediately put her hands on her hips and glared at Gu Fei fiercely. At least you know what's good for you. When the eldest senior brother heard that, the murderous aura on his body weakened significantly. I'm just joking, Gu Fei said again. How dare you trick me? The eldest senior brother glared and flew into a rage. Why? Can I take it? Gu Fei said coldly. You're courting death. The young man called Gao Rong roared and walked out from behind the eldest senior brother. With a flip of his right hand, a black whip appeared in his hand. Pa! Gao Rong shook the long whip in his hand and the air exploded with a sonic boom. Be careful. This senior brother of mine is famous for being ruthless. He'll strangle someone to death with a whip if he doesn't agree with him. The purple-clothed girl retreated behind Gu Fei. Is that so? Chapter 50-42. The Star Sect was the strongest sect in the Falling Star Mountain range. It was an overlord. In the past 100 years, no one had ever dared to cause trouble outside the Star Sect. There were many godly state powerhouses in the Star Sect. Sect Master Qijinshan was a half-step divine king, the strongest expert in the Falling Star Mountain range. His daughter, Qifei, was also a god realm expert. Moreover, Qijinshan had accepted 5 disciples. The eldest disciple, Mo Feng, was also at the divine realm, and the third disciple, Gao Rong, was at the half-step divine realm. Among Qijinshan's 5 disciples, Wind Void was the closest to Gao Rong. When Gao Rong saw that Gu Fei dared to play around with his eldest senior brother, he immediately made his move. With a wave of the whip in his hand, the whip immediately coiled around Gu Fei's neck like a poisonous snake. Be careful! Qifei immediately dodged to the side. Gu Fei stretched out his right hand, and the long whip wrapped around his arm. Swoosh! Suddenly, countless sharp crescent-shaped blades emerged from the yen whip. Break! Gao Rong exerted force with his right hand, wanting to tear off Gu Fei's right arm. However, he only felt his hand sink. The incomparably sharp blade on the whip had only cut the sleeve of this guy's arm. It could not hurt this guy at all. How is this possible? When Gao Rong saw this scene, he could not help but be shocked. At this time, Gu Fei turned his hand and grabbed the whip that was wrapped around his arm. Then, he pulled it out forcefully. Gao Rong felt a jolt in his hand, and the whip in his hand was pulled away by the other party. His palm felt hot. When the eldest disciple of Star Sect saw that, a gleam flashed through his eyes. You actually managed to cultivate the invincible Vajra body? Chi Fei exclaimed in shock. Invincible Vajra? When Wind Void heard this, she couldn't help but be slightly moved. Could it be that this fellow is also a deity realm expert? It seemed that he had underestimated this fellow. This whip is not bad. No wonder it can wrap around people's necks. Gu Fei fiddled with the whip. This thing was somewhat interesting. As long as he infused his essence into the whip, a crescent moon-shaped blade would appear on the whip. When he retracted his quintessential essence, the blade on the whip would shrink back. I don't think anyone who's been wrapped around by your whip will be able to live. Gu Fei stared coldly at the guy in front of him. You! Hearing this, Gao Rong was both shocked and furious. Swoosh! Gu Fei suddenly made his move. The whip was like a black bolt of lightning, instantly wrapping around Gao Rong's neck. What? Gao Rong's shock was no small matter. Say, do you think you can keep your head if I pull hard now? Gu Fei laughed as he tightened his grip on the whip. Gu Fei's action scared Gao Rong out of his wits. Spare me, great hero, spare me! Gao Rong immediately knelt down. No one knew the power of the whip better than him. If he was wrapped around by the whip, even if he had 10 heads, he would still be dead. Can't you have some backbone? When Wind Void saw how cowardly Gao Rong was, she also felt ashamed. Eldest senior brother, you really don't feel any pain. Is your backbone more important than your life? Gao Rong only wanted to live because his life was in the hands of the other party. If the other party pulled hard, his head would be removed. He didn't want to die. Let him go! Wind Void stared at Gu Fei and said coldly. Humph! Do you think I'll let him go just because you say so? Gu Fei sneered. If you don't want to die, do as I say. Wind Void's voice became even colder. What if I want to die? Do you have the ability to kill me? Gu Fei said disapprovingly. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. As Wind Void spoke, she took out a weapon. It was a rare weapon. It was a palm-sized silver ring. Be careful, this guy's flying ring is very powerful. The purple-clothed girl reminded Gu Fei. TSK, a man playing with a girl's things. Don't you feel ashamed? Gu Fei said in disdain. What did you say? Wind Void was furious and was about to attack. Do you really not care about your junior brother's life? Gu Fei sneered. Eldest senior brother, don't be rash. Gao Rong felt the whip around his neck tighten, and he almost peed his pants. How about this? If you want to save your junior brother, kneel and kowtow to me, and I'll let him go. How about that? Gu Fei said calmly. What did you say? You want me to kneel and kowtow to you? Wind Void grinned. He was the eldest senior brother of the Star Sect, and he had only kowtowed to his master in his life. I say, hero, can you change the condition? Gao Rong said to Gu Fei carefully with a bitter smile. He did not think that Wind Void would kneel to Gu Fei to save him because he knew very well that his eldest senior brother was such a proud person. How could he be threatened to kneel and kowtow? Even the purple-clothed girl, Chi Fei, looked at Wind Void curiously. She also wanted to know if Wind Void would kneel and kowtow to this guy for the sake of his fellow disciple. At this moment, many figures appeared nearby, and some people were watching from afar. Junior brother, I'm sorry. Wind Void only fell silent for a while before he made his decision. Don't, senior brother! Gao Rong was so scared that he almost fell to the ground. Sigh, I didn't expect your eldest senior brother to treat you like this. He doesn't care about your life at all. Gu Fei shook his head and sighed. Gao Rong's face was ashen. Wind Void, how can you do this? Chi Fei could not help but shout at Wind Void. This guy really doesn't care about his fellow disciple's life. What right does he have to be the eldest senior brother of the Star Sect? Junior brother, if you die, I'll avenge you. Wind Void said coldly. Wind Void, To think that I treated you like an elder brother. Is this how you treat me? At this moment, Gao Rong hated Wind Void to the core. He was about to die, but he could not care less. He immediately started cursing at Wind Void. Die, brat! Wind Void said as he waved his right hand. The flying hoop in his hand immediately turned into a silver ray of light that shot toward Gu Fei at an extremely fast speed. Ha ha! Gu Fei stretched out his left hand and flicked his finger, sending the flying hoop flying. Bam! The silver flying hoop directly hit a tree next to Wind Void. The tree that was so thick that it would take several people to wrap their arms around it was directly broken. The huge tree fell from the sky, and the forest was in chaos. What? The fact that Gu Fei had sent Wind Void's flying hoop flying shocked Wind Void. At this moment, Wind Void realized that he had severely underestimated this guy. Gu Fei did not kill Gao Rong. He shook his whip and threw Gao Rong away. Then, a black shadow wrapped around Wind Void like a venomous snake. Wind Void quickly dodged and at the same time, retrieved the flying hoop that Gu Fei had sent flying. Hum! The flying hoop vibrated and actually split into countless silver rays that protected Wind Void. The extremely agile whip in Gu Fei's hand was blocked by the silver light formed by the flying hoop. Interesting. Chapter 50-43. The cultivation base of the people from Star Sect was not high, but they were very arrogant, especially the eldest senior brother of Star Sect. He was even more arrogant and proud. However, he did not expect that the young man in black before him was Gu Fei, who had single-handedly ignited the Southern Wilderness War. If he knew that the young man in black was Gu Fei, he would have probably wet his pants long ago. He would not dare to be arrogant in front of Gu Fei. However, it was precisely because the eldest senior brother of Star Sect, Mo Feng, did not know Gu Fei's identity that Gu Fei could have fun. To him, it was very interesting. Mo Feng's flying hoop was very good. The silver hoop turned into countless silver lights that enveloped his entire body, and his defense was impregnable. Gu Fei shook the whip in his hand. Pa! An explosion sounded in the air. In the next moment, the whip in Gu Fei's hand turned into countless black shadows that lashed at Mo Feng. However, all the whip shadows were blocked by Mo Feng's silver hoop. Humph, you're just a little stronger. How can you be a match for my Star Sect's divinity? Mo Feng sneered. Is that so? Gu Fei put away his whip, and the whip shadows that filled the sky immediately disappeared. In the next moment, he took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Mo Feng. Eat my punch! Gu Fei clenched his right fist and directly punched at the ball of light that Mo Feng's flying hoop had transformed into. Be careful! Chi Fei hurriedly reminded him. She knew the power of Mo Feng's flying hoop very well. Many people directly punched the silver ball of light that Mo Feng's flying hoop had transformed into like Gu Fei. Then, their right hands were cut off. I'll break your palm. Mo Feng's extremely arrogant voice was heard. However, in the next moment, Gu Fei's punch directly hit the silver ball of light around Mo Feng. It directly penetrated the silver ball of light and smashed into Mo Feng's chest. The dull sound of a crash was accompanied by a scream of pain. Wind Void was sent flying by Gu Fei's punch and crashed into the forest. This guy crashed into the forest all the way. Everywhere he passed, whether it was a towering tree or a small tree the size of a wrist, they were all directly broken. The forest was immediately thrown into chaos. How is this possible? Gao Rong, who was watching from the side, widened his eyes. His eyeballs were about to fall out. He might hate Wind Void to the core, but when he saw that Gu Fei had sent her flying, he did not feel any sense of schadenfreude. Gao Rong was shocked. He was shocked to the extreme. He and Mo Feng used to be brothers, so no one knew better than him how high Mo Feng's cultivation was and how strong his battle prowess was. Even Mo Feng couldn't take a punch from this black-robed youth. Could this guy be a divine king who pretended to be weak? However, there were no god kings in the Meteorite Mountain range. If a god king appeared in the Meteorite Mountain range, it would definitely shake up the entire Meteorite Mountain range. However, there was no God King in the Meteorite Mountain range. The strongest existence in the Meteorite Mountain range was the sect master of the Star Sect, Qizhinshan, who was a half-step God King. It was because of Qizhinshan that the Star Sect was able to become the overlord of the Meteorite Mountain range, occupy the most valuable mines, and obtain the most valuable cultivation resources. In fact, no matter where he went, the truth that the strong were revered would never change. At this moment, Qi Fei also covered her mouth in shock. Her eyes were fixed on Gu Fei, who was still in the posture of throwing a punch. "Why am I handsome?" Gu Fei looked at Qi Fei and said proudly. "Handsome," Qi Fei said subconsciously. "Handsome my *SS." After regaining her senses, Qi Fei spoke up. Gu Fei retracted his fist and said unhappily, "What a hypocritical little girl." Little girl? Qi Fei almost went crazy. How dare this guy call me little girl? Roar! Just when Qi Fei was about to explode, an angry roar came from the forest. In the next moment, a figure rushed out of the forest. "Go to hell!" The person's clothes were tattered, and his chest was stained with blood. He had a ferocious expression on his face as he threw a punch at Gu Fei. This person was the first senior brother of the Star Sect, Mo Feng, who was sent flying into the forest by Gu Fei's punch earlier. His fist was like a meteorite as it smashed toward Gu Fei. Gu Fei shook his head helplessly. He casually stretched out his right hand and grabbed Mo Feng's fist. "You!" Mo Feng's shock was no small matter. Her opponent was like a mountain, and her punch could not even move his body in the slightest. Then, Mo Feng's entire body was sent flying. Gu Fei grabbed his fist and spun him around. Then, Gu Fei ruthlessly smashed him to the ground. Bam! The ground shook, and dust flew everywhere. A human-shaped pit immediately appeared on the ground. Qi Fei and Gao Rong were stunned when they saw this. It was as if they had turned into stone statues as they stared at the human-shaped pit on the ground with their mouths agape. You! Who are you?" Gao Rong asked in a trembling voice as he looked at Gu Fei in horror after he regained his senses. Mo Feng was smashed to the ground by Gu Fei. Even if he did not die, he would probably be crippled. "You don't have the right to know who I am," Gu Fei said proudly with his hands behind his back. At this moment, Gu Fei's image was incomparably lofty in Qi Fei's eyes. "What?" Gao Rong was even more shocked when he heard that. It seemed that this young man in black had a powerful background. The Void Realm's middle sky was the most prosperous area in the entire Void Realm. There was no lack of experts here. Could it be that they had hit the jackpot today? They actually encountered a legendary expert? As the direct disciple of the Star Sect Master, Gao Rong was naturally knowledgeable. "Hey, chick, hurry up and bring me into the mountain," Gu Fei said loudly to Qi Fei. Qi Fei did not expect Gu Fei to be so powerful that even her senior brother, Mo Feng, was beaten like a dog. "Aren't you going to lead the way?" Gu Fei glanced at Qi Fei. Qi Fei pondered for a moment before saying, "All right." She walked directly toward the Star Sect's mountain gate. Gu Fei followed behind her. "Little junior sister." Gao Rong looked at this scene in disbelief. Is little junior sister really going to bring this malefic person into the Star Sect? At this moment, a series of screams came from the human-shaped pit. "Humph, I didn't expect you to have such a day," Gao Rong sneered. He ignored Mo Feng and chased after the direction where Gu Fei and the rest had disappeared. Right after Gao Ronggang left, a bloody hand suddenly stretched out from the human-shaped pit. At this moment, Qi Fei had already brought Gu Fei to the Star Sect's mountain gate. Not bad. Chapter 5044. The Star Sect's mountain gate was the most majestic mountain gate in the Meteorite Mountain range. It had a tall archway, stone beasts that stood like small mountains on both sides, and the disciples guarding the mountain gate all had arrogant expressions on their faces. It was no wonder that even the Star Sect's disciples were so arrogant. The star sect was the overlord of the meteorite mountain range. So what if their disciples were a little arrogant? It was normal, okay? Where did this fellow come from? Get lost. Outside the mountain gate, a star sect disciple walked toward Gu Fei and pointed at Gu Fei. Humph! Gu Fei's face darkened. In the next moment, he waved his right hand, and the disciple who was guarding the mountain gate immediately screamed and flew out. He crashed into a stone beast at the side and slid to the ground, unable to get up for a while. Upon seeing this sight, Qi Fei and Gao Rong, who were following behind Gu Fei, were shocked. How dare you! How dare you barge into our sect's mountain gate? Are you tired of living? At this moment, 7 to 8 figures rushed out of the mountain gate. The person in the lead was a white-haired middle-aged man in white. Senior Brother Tong, what's wrong? A star sect disciple rushed toward the disciple who had fallen to the ground and helped him up. This person wants to barge into the mountain. Senior Brother Tong stared at Gu Fei and gritted his teeth. Gu Fei did not kill him. Otherwise, this fellow would not have just been injured. Go! As soon as the middle-aged man gave the order, the other disciples immediately rushed forward and surrounded Gu Fei. Cold lights flashed as they pointed their weapons at Gu Fei. All of you, stand down! Just as the star sect disciples who were guarding the mountain gate were about to attack Gu Fei, a loud shout was heard. The star sect's guardian elder turned around and was shocked to see a figure rushing over. Who else could it be but Qi Fei? Eldest young miss? The middle-aged man was stunned when he saw Qi Fei. Qi Fei was the star sect's little devil. Who in the star sect had not been fooled by this little devil before? Upon seeing that it was Qi Fei, the disciples guarding the mountain gate were so frightened that they nearly dropped their weapons and took a few steps back. You came just in time! Gu Fei glanced at Qi Fei with a smile. Although Qi Fei was the one who brought Gu Fei to the star sect's mountain gate, Qi Fei and Gao Rong stopped at a distance and watched from afar. However, when Qi Fei saw that Gu Fei was about to clash with the disciples guarding the mountain gate, she panicked. How could these disciples possibly be a match for Gu Fei? Therefore, she could only jump out to stop them. He's my friend, Qi Fei said to the guardian elder. Friend? The white-robed middle-aged man looked at Qi Fei, then at Gu Fei, bewildered. Wrong, I should say that I am your master, Gu Fei said indifferently with his hands behind his back. What? The middle-aged man and the other star sect's disciples were shocked to the extreme. What did this guy say? He's eldest young Mrs. Master? How preposterous! The people from the star sect glared at Gu Fei angrily. You! Qi Fei was shocked and furious. How dare this guy reveal this matter? Isn't he just making enemies for himself? Isn't that so? Gu Fei looked at Qi Fei and said with a smile. Qi Fei did not say anything when she heard that. She was the one who admitted defeat in the bet with Gu Fei previously, but that was because she wanted Mo Feng to fight with Gu Fei. However, Qi Fei did not expect Mo Feng to be so useless and be easily defeated by this guy. This made Qi Fei suffer in silence. Eldest young miss, this? Seeing that Qi Fei did not say anything, the star sect's disciples were dumbfounded. Is what this guy said true? Little guy, if you continue to spout nonsense, I'll make sure you die. The elder guarding the mountain gate pointed his sword at Gu Fei and roared. TSK. Gu Fei did not take this guy's threat seriously at all. This guy's cultivation was only at the demigod stage, which was far inferior to the star sect's eldest senior brother. The star sect's eldest senior brother was at the godly state after all. Elder Xing, what are you doing? My friend was just joking. Did you take it seriously? Qi Fei glared at Gu Fei and said loudly. Joking? The mountain guarding elder was doubtful when he heard this. How troublesome. Ask your sect master to come out and see me. Gu Fei was getting impatient. He could tell that the star sect's formation could not only defend against enemies, but it could also gather the heaven and earth spiritual energy within 10,000 miles of the star mountain. How could a half-step divine king set up such a formation? Could it be that something in the star mountain had attracted the attention of some big shots, And they had set up a backup plan? Gu Fei was a little curious. Who had set up this backup plan? The person who could set up such a formation had to be at least at the level of the Ling Tian Palace's old ancestor Tian Hong. What did you say? The elder was dumbfounded. This guy wants to see our sect master? Haha, this guy must be crazy. Yes, he's crazy too. Does our sect master think he can just meet anyone? The Star Sect's disciples mocked Gu Fei one after another. You're really crazy. Chi Fei looked at Gu Fei as if he was a monster. Does this guy think he can look down on my father just because he defeated Mo Feng? It was not unreasonable for the Star Sect's disciples to mock Gu Fei. One must know that the Star Sect's sect master, Qi Jinshan, was a half-step divine king. He was recognized as the #1 powerhouse in the Meteorite Mountain Range. No one thought that Gu Fei could challenge Qi Jinshan. Even Chi Fei did not think that Gu Fei could. Sigh. Seeing the Star Sect's disciples mocking him, Gu Fei did not care. He suddenly threw a palm at the Star Sect's mountain gate. Boom! With a loud bang, the Star Sect's mountain gate was gone. It disappeared. The memorial archway and stone beasts were all destroyed by Gu Fei's palm. Then, everyone present was dumbfounded. Their eyeballs almost fell to the ground, and their eyes were bigger than a cow's. Then, everyone's forehead was covered in sweat. The elder guarding the Star Sect's mountain gate's voice trembled, and he could not even speak properly. Do I have the right to ask your sect master to come and see me now? Gu Fei stood with his hands behind his back, looking calm and collected. The Star Sect's disciples did not dare to speak. What happened? Outrageous! Who smashed the mountain gate? With a loud bang at the mountain gate, the Star Mountain immediately burst into an uproar. Chapter 50-45. Gu Fei destroyed the Star Sect's mountain gate with a single palm strike. Everyone was stunned when they saw that. The Star Sect's mountain gate was protected by a formation. However, even with the protection of the formation, the Star Sect's mountain gate could not be destroyed so easily. However, Gu Fei blasted the Star Sect's mountain gate into smithereens with a single palm strike. Gu Fei's move stunned everyone. At this moment, powerful auras appeared on Star Mountain one after another. Then, these big shots of the Star Sect descended from the sky and appeared above the mountain gate, looking down at Gu Fei below. Are you the one who wants to see my sect master? Are you the one who destroyed my sect's mountain gate? A white-haired old man slowly descended from the sky and landed in front of Gu Fei. He squinted at Gu Fei with his beady eyes. Granduncle Master? Chi Fei was shocked when she saw the old man. Why is this ancestor here? Greetings, Patriarch. The members of the Star Sect outside the mountain gate immediately knelt on the ground when they saw the old man. Who are you? Gu Fei looked at the white-haired old man indifferently. Haha, you dared to barge into the mountain without even knowing who I am? The old man suddenly laughed out loud. TSK, since you're not the sect master of the Star Sect, get lost. Gu Fei waved his hand impatiently. How dare you be so impudent in front of me? The old man instantly stopped smiling, and his expression became ferocious. Who do you think you are? Hurry up and call your sect master to see me. Gu Fei did not want to waste any more time. If he wanted to break the formation here would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. However, he did not want to break the formation because once it was broken, the heaven and earth spiritual energy that the formation had gathered for countless years would explode. The heaven and earth spiritual energy was definitely extremely powerful. Once it exploded, even Gu Fei might not be able to control it. Furthermore, Gu Fei was curious as to who it was that would be so extravagant as to set up such a formation in such a desolate place. What was that person's motive? Since he did not want to destroy the formation, Gu Fei could not attack it forcefully. Little guy, you're courting death! The old man roared and stretched out his right hand to grab Gu Fei. The 5 fingers on his right hand were thin and long, and his nails were like sharp swords. If he was grabbed by him, there would definitely be 5 bloody holes on his body. However, if he was caught by the old man, Gu Fei would lose a lot of face. By then, Gu Fei's cultivation base had more or less recovered. Palace Master Ling Tian's seal could not seal Gu Fei's cultivation base for long. Gu Fei was too lazy to even move. Then, the old man's 5 fingers stopped a foot away from Gu Fei. His sharp fingernails were immediately broken. The old man felt as if he had grabbed an invisible piece of divine metal. The old man felt as if he had grabbed an invisible piece of godly metal. Protective chi? The old man exclaimed. Ridiculous! With a wave of Gu Fei's right hand, the Star Sect's granduncle master screamed and disappeared in an instant. Everyone was dumbfounded, including Chi Feier. No one had expected that their granduncle master, who was feared by everyone in the Star Sect, would disappear with just a wave of his hand. Just as everyone was stunned, Gu Fei strode into the Star Sect's mountain gate and barged into the mountain. Then, a scene that had never happened before appeared on the Star Mountain. Gu Fei single-handedly fought his way up the mountain from the foot of the mountain. Everywhere he passed, there were injured people screaming in pain. All the Star Sect disciples who wanted to stop Gu Fei and chase Gu Fei down the mountain were knocked to the ground by him, and none of them could get up. However, Gu Fei did not kill them because their lives were not in danger. When Chi Feier and the rest rushed in, they were stunned again when they saw this scene. They had been stunned countless times. This place is very strange. Soon, Gu Fei reached the halfway point of the mountain. However, there were still countless Star Sect disciples rushing over from all directions to attack Gu Fei. At this moment, Gu Fei sensed the aura of this world. There was actually no place on the Star Mountain with especially high heaven and earth spiritual energy. In other words, he did not know where the heaven and earth spiritual energy here had gone to. The formation of the Star Mountain could gather the heaven and earth spiritual energy within a radius of 10,000 miles. For countless years, even a place like this in the middle of nowhere could gather heaven and earth spiritual energy. Where did the gathered heaven and earth spiritual energy go? Who exactly are you? At this moment, an extremely dignified voice sounded from the top of the mountain. Sect Master, it's the Sect Master. The Sect Master has come out of seclusion. Haha, this guy is dead for sure. The Star Sect disciples were surprised and overjoyed. I'm someone you can't afford to offend, Gu Fei said calmly. Although his voice was not loud, it spread throughout the entire Star Mountain. Haha! A figure appeared on the top of the mountain, and an extremely powerful pressure descended from the top of the mountain. All the Star Sect disciples on the Star Mountain felt their bodies sink as if a mountain had suddenly pressed on them. Father! Chi Feier was extremely excited when she saw the figure on the top of the mountain. Qi Jinshan had gone into seclusion to break through to the godly king realm. Now that he had come out, it meant that he had succeeded. No one knew better than Chi Feier what Qi Jinshan's breakthrough meant. Her father was the first godly king to appear in the Meteorite Mountain range in countless years. A godly king was the #1 powerhouse in the Meteorite Mountain range. Sigh! Gu Fei sighed. In the next moment, he continued to fight his way up the mountain. He did not take Qi Jinshan seriously at all. You're very arrogant, the figure on the top of the mountain said indifferently. Very soon, Gu Fei reached the top of the mountain and stood opposite Qi Jinshan. How can I take you in as my follower if I'm not arrogant? Gu Fei said with a smile. Qi Jinshan was speechless. At this moment, countless Star Sect disciples on the Star Mountain were looking at the two figures on the top of the mountain. He's also a godly king? Chi Feier could not help but be shocked when she saw this. That guy was already a godly king at such a young age. Did he start cultivating in his mother's womb? Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, it was impossible for him to reach the godly king realm at such a young age. Did I hear wrongly? You want to take me in as your follower? Qi Jinshan said calmly. Can't I? It's your fortune to be my follower. Gu Fei stood with his hands behind his back and said proudly. Ha ha! Chapter 50-46. At the peak of the Star Mountain, Gu Fei actually said that he wanted to take the Star Sect Master, Qi Jinshan, as his subordinate. This made all the disciples of the Star Sect angry, shocked, and disdainful. Who does this fellow think he is? He's too arrogant to want our sect master to be his subordinate? How dare he say such words? In the eyes of all the disciples of the Star Sect, this fellow was crazy. Are you crazy? Qi Fei roared at Gu Fei, who was on the mountain peak. Fei, don't be rude. Qi Jinshan waved his hand. Father! Qi Fei rushed up to the top of the mountain and stood beside Qi Jinshan. She raised her eyebrows and glared at Gu Fei. Gu Feiyun was calm and the aura on his body wasn't strong. However, Qi Jinshan's aura was extremely strong. Although he had tried his best to control it, he still couldn't control it well. Qi Fei, who was standing beside Qi Jinshan, felt immense pressure. You've just broken through to the God King realm, right? Gu Fei suddenly smiled. How did you know? Qi Jinshan was shocked, but he still forced himself to remain calm. Gu Fei said disdainfully, Is there a need to ask how I know when I can tell with a glance? Qi Jinshan was shocked again. There was only one possibility for this fellow to be able to tell his cultivation level with a glance. This fellow's cultivation was far above his. At this thought, Qi Jinshan's forehead began to sweat. There's no need to be so nervous. I'm only here to borrow your place to cultivate for a few days. Gu Fei said calmly. What? Qi Jinshan was stunned. This fellow barged into the mountain from the foot of the mountain to the peak. Could it be that he really wanted to cultivate here for a few days? It's up to you whether you want to believe it or not. From today onward, this peak belongs to me. Without my summons, no one is allowed to come up. Understand? Gu Fei looked around. The peak was not bad. There was a large hall surrounded by lush greenery. Standing at the peak, he could see the surrounding mountains. Hey, you're taking up our place just like that? Qi Fei was indignant. Little girl, you're still too young. Didn't your father tell you that in this world, only the strong are respected? Gu Fei looked at Qi Fei with a faint smile. The strong are respected? Qi Fei muttered to herself. Senior, since you've taken a liking to this place, I'll send a message. From today onwards, no one from the Star Sect is allowed to go up the mountain. Qi Jinshan cautiously said to Gu Fei. At least you know your place. Gu Fei nodded. Just like that, Gu Fei settled down at the peak of Stellar Mountain. After that, the peak of the Star Sect's Star Mountain became a forbidden area. No one dared to go up there. Even the sect master of the Star Sect did not dare to take half a step onto the peak. Gu Fei sat cross-legged on the peak of the Star Mountain, sensing the aura of this part of the world. His spiritual force instantly enveloped the entire Star Mountain, and he could sense all the subtle changes on the mountain. Everyone, every living being, was within his range of perception. There are really a lot of people on the mountain. Gu Fei could sense that there were many Star Sect disciples cultivating below the mountainside. Qi Fei, the purple-clothed girl, was also cultivating. Looks like this little girl has been provoked. Gu Fei sighed. Qi Fei had started to calm down. She stopped fooling around and started to work hard on her cultivation. Why are these guys gathered together? Gu Fei sensed that there were many people gathered in a courtyard on the mountainside. Even the sect master, Qi Jinshan, was present. This was a little strange. Sect master, did you gather us here too? Xing Yao, the inner sect elder of the Star Sect, said. Sect master, you have to think twice. The patriarch of the Star Sect said anxiously. He was scared out of his wits by Gu Fei. When Gu Fei barged into the mountain, he was sent flying more than 10 kilometers away with a casual wave of his hand outside the mountain gate. What kind of cultivation and battle prowess was that? If Gu Fei wanted to kill him, it would be even easier than crushing an ant. What was the sect master trying to do? Was he going to provoke the malefic existence on the top of the mountain? Wasn't he courting death? This Uncle Master of the Star Sect did not dare to face Gu Fei anymore. Uncle Master, you disappoint me. Qi Jinshan looked at his Uncle Master and said coldly. Sect Master, are you really going to the expressions of the other elders of the star sect changed drastically. The existence on the top of the mountain had fought all the way from the foot of the mountain to the top that day. They, the elders, had also been beaten to the ground. In fact, everyone in the star sect had long been scared out of their wits by Gu Fei. No one dared to attack Gu Fei. Humph! What's there to be afraid of? As long as we release that thing, do you think that guy on the top of the mountain will still be alive? Qi Jinshan sneered. What, sect master, you want to? The elders were shocked when they heard that. The Star Mountain had a master for countless years. Although Qi Jinshan had founded the Star Sect and occupied the Star Mountain, there was a big secret on the Star Mountain. This secret was only known to the sect master and the elders. Interesting. Gu Fei was worried that he had no clue, so he wanted to see what these guys were up to. Every move of Qi Jinshan and the others was under Gu Fei's perception. Even their conversation was heard by Gu Fei without missing a single word. However, the upper echelons of the Star Sect could not sense the existence of Gu Fei's divine consciousness at all. Very soon, the sect master, Qi Jinshan, left the courtyard and headed straight for the back of the mountain. Roar! Very soon, an earth-shattering roar of a wild beast sounded, and the entire mountain shook under the impact of the sound wave. An extremely powerful and ruthless aura appeared between heaven and earth. Then, a gigantic beast shadow appeared at the back of the mountain. The heaven and earth spiritual energy in the entire world instantly filled up. The endless heaven and earth spiritual energy gathered by the formation of Star Mountain erupted at this moment. In an instant, the concentration of heaven and earth spiritual energy in the entire area of Star Mountain rose rapidly. Roar! A wild beast that was even larger than a mountain stood up at the back of the mountain and roared at the sky. The terrifying sound wave spread out again, and everything within the range of the sound wave was shattered. What, it's actually... At the peak of Star Mountain, Gu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged in the void, opened his eyes. When he saw the wild beast that walked out of the back of the mountain with heavy footsteps, he could not help but be moved. It was a rare star-swallowing beast. This star-swallowing beast was extraordinary, and it was related to the legendary heaven-swallowing beast. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.